Yo, what's going on, everybody? I am AK Eagles. This is the AK Eagles podcast. Tonight, we are going to be breaking down the whole NFL. I got some people coming on with me to help me do it and get their opinions as well. Appreciate you guys for being here. We are streaming on all three platforms right now. This one, Hardcore Sports Network, and also on Twitter. So if you haven't already, please go over to those other channels, hit a like, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you guys, and let's get into it. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us tonight. I will be joined by a few people here also. I am here with BPS, Big Play Slay. Appreciate you for being here as well, bud. And tonight, we're going to kind of run through the whole NFL. We're going to break them down division by division. We're going to talk about them a little bit and, just kind of give our take on how they're going to rank, before training camp here and just what they look like on paper and stuff. So appreciate y'all being here. Please, like I said, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. We are also streaming on Hardcore Sports and on Twitter as well. Please make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe. We are on the way to 1K and also on the way to 1K on Hardcore Sports as well. We are up to 70 subs already. This is going to be the second video on there, so appreciate all the love and support. What's going on, Slay?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. How's everyone doing in the chat? I hope y'all are good. I'm good, man. I'm chilling. I'm just chilling, waiting for my test tomorrow at my school. But that's really what I'm doing now.
Yeah, man. Good luck with that tomorrow. I hope you do good. Hope you pass it, and you know everything's okay. So
Yeah, man.
we're
Appreciate
gonna
it.
say what's up to a few people real quick. Jadis Young in the building. He is first. Very very loyal supporter of mine from day one. So appreciate you, bro. BLSG, you as always, man. You are always here. Thank you for the support. Drew Johnson, what is good, my guy? Appreciate you, man. Thank you for everything that you do as well. Great guy. So appreciate it. I'm doing good, man. It's Wednesday. You know,
What's good, Eric?
we didn't have the Eats Meets West tonight. Some people had some stuff to do. Foothill started a new job. Shout out to him. Hope he loves doing what he's doing. So we had to push that back for a little bit. Yes, what's up, Eric? How you doing, my guy? Appreciate everything you do for this channel, man, and thank you for being a great friend, a good brother, and I appreciate you, man. Seriously. Yo, Speedy Eagle, how's it going, brother? How's it going? Appreciate you, sir. Like I said, guys, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe.
What's good, Jadis?
Yes, sir. So, all right, man. Listen, there's been a lot of positions that have been shaken up in the NFL this offseason. There's been a lot of acquisitions to teams and stuff. And, before we start doing this, man, give me a few teams that you like the direction they took this offseason.
Um, Obvious one. Everyone's gonna say us so far. No, I'll be you to answer your question before I get to my point. No, I don't have school. I'm just taking like a couple tests right now, like for regions. But uh, I would say us for sure. I like what the Raiders did. I like what they're doing. Um, and I'm gonna say the Jets. I like what the Jets did in terms of this offseason. They didn't do. I mean, they like their biggest offseason move was Lincoln Tomlinson from the San Francisco 49ers, one of the best guards in the league on PFF's grade. Um, and everyone thought Debo was going there. Like, let's be honest, Debo. I feel like people starting that to happen. Debo was going to be a Jet, but I'm gonna say the Jets. Let me
Let's go with
see.
Lindy.
Let's go
Yo,
with
by the way, Lindy, if you'd like to come in and talk for a little bit, dude, and you got some time, this is something right up your alley, talking about the whole NFL here and division and position. So if you got a little bit of time, bro, love it if you could
yeah,
come. I'll send you the link. Let me know.
yeah. So I said Jets, Raiders, Eagles. Um, to be honest, man, I like what the honestly, man, I know the Panthers aren't like great, but I like what they did this offseason. They got Bradley Bosman, Akeem Kwanu. They definitely upgraded their line or their offensive line. Sam Darnold still sucks. What's new? And then they got Matt Corral, so I like what they did. And then I'll throw one more team in there. The Chargers. I like what they did in this offseason. I think that team, especially like for the future, with Herbie, and then you got guys like Mike Williams. I'm not gonna say Keenan Allen is on the like downcline of his career or downfall, but he's getting up there in age. So Mike Williams will be like more big in that offense this year. So them.
Oh yeah, man. No, even though Keenan Allen's getting up there in age a little bit, dude, I gotta say that he's still effective. So.
Jerry, no man, you funny, Jerry. I see that, Lindy. That was a good move, man. He said, "I see your first mustache here."
That's
Yo,
funny. That's funny. Yeah, Christian Woods to the Mavs. Uh-oh.
yeah, that was a good chance. Yeah,
That's
man.
just,
My
yeah,
mustache.
the Chargers are really looking scary. Yeah, no, listen, man, they went out and they got Khalil Mack and put him next to, uh, Joey or Boza,
Mm-hmm.
that's a scary combination the Chargers have, man. They're going to be really good. I have a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, I totally agree with all those other teams. Raiders, totally. They made a huge improvement. Um, you know, some people might look at the Denver Broncos getting Russ being an improvement. I gotta have to see that team
Yeah, I
all
mean, I
together.
like what they did. It's just that
Yeah, I like what they did
they
too.
didn't do too much besides get Russ. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, I think getting rid of Noah Fant might hurt them a little bit. I don't know, but
Who's their starting tight end? I don't know.
yeah. So, but no, man, we're gonna dive into this and yeah, appreciate each and every one of you guys so much. F them chokers. Yeah, yeah, Eric, if you want to come on and talk some football, bro, let me know. I'll send it to you, man,
Yeah.
and you too as well, Jerry, if you want to. Yeah, one team he's not scared of is Dallas. Yo, Positive Philly, what's going on, man? Appreciate you for coming in.
Man.
Shout out to the 9 people in here. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button on the road to 1K. Thank you all so much for the love and support. Eric and Slay, how do you feel about Lakers not having picks? I'm about to wish they didn't get Westbrook.
I do not care, to be honest. I just want to see actual like gameplay of them in real person. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
1 second, guys. Just sending one of these things out.
What's good, Rye? What's good, man?
Man, sorry.
He says F those chokers. Man, the Chargers would have been in the damn playoffs if it wasn't for y'all, man. I don't care. But we'll see.
Hey, man, you know what? The Chargers had plenty of opportunities to get that shit done, though. Like I can't hate on the Raiders. They did their job. They did what we did. They had to win the games. They had to win to get in. So I can't hate on them.
I agree, man. I like what the Raiders did. I think the Raiders were the reason they didn't get in. So and then with the Chargers, like this is your year, man. Like the first season, I gave Herbert slack because it was his rookie season. He went in there week one, put up amazing performance against Patrick Mahomes, and went duel for duel. And then you got year two, and then the Chargers, and then I see Dante here. The Texans screwed up the Chargers' hopes. And then you had the Raiders win in that game. So this is the Chargers make it or break it year. If they don't get to the playoffs, which I think they will, then it's their fault.
What's good, Ralph? How you doing, buddy? Yo, Dante, what's
What's up?
good, man?
What's good? I'm actually
Congrats,
streaming
man. I mean, I
right
see you
now. I'm
traded
actually
Christian
streaming
Wood.
right now. I'm getting ready to do the Dodgers and the Angels game, but I'm on my other laptop, so I'm on
Okay.
both. I'm on both. My laptop, game laptop right here. My podcast, laptop is right here. Where y'all at? What's
I
good, y'all?
seen that you traded Christian Wood, man. I
I've been
seen,
campaigning to do that all
yeah,
year
I
long. I've been
and I
saying do
seen
that all year long.
and I wanted him to the Lakers, but we are just a
Oh,
bunch.
y'all passed him up, so hey.
Hey, I'll get with you then. Positive. I'll message you here soon.
Hey, all we wanted was a first round pick. Dallas gave it to us.
Dude, we suck.
Yo, what's
That's
good?
all I gotta say.
AK, Slay, and Coach Dante. That actually came off as an
He's a
excellent
poet.
line there.
Didn't know it. Check it out.
What's going on, guys? How you all doing tonight?
What's up?
Just came
Great.
over from Mitch's stream.
Hello.
Wrestling.
Great, man.
Yo,
Yo, man, I gotta say real fast, dude.
what up?
That was a really emotional night last night, Jeff. And I know you know what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
Joel.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
That
it was.
was-
It was.
That was crazy.
I gotta give a shout out to my boy Classified 3F, man.
Can someone?
I knew something happened. In all honesty, I didn't ask questions. I didn't think it was my business. He is a really good friend of mine, but I figured I'd figure it out eventually. Well, I found out last night, and
What
it made me
That
shed
was-
a tear a couple of times. I had to mute myself because, man, listen, even though he is a giant content creator, that man has always had my back.
Yeah.
He's a great human being, a great individual. He loves working with people, and to see somebody with such a big heart and a great human being go through what this man is going through right now, dude, it hurts me, but I love him because he's fighting, and he's doing everything that he can, and I admire the hell out of him, and I just want him to know that. That was great seeing him last night, and man, I'll tell you what, dude, it shook the room. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
really-
I like the energy from him, man.
It
Yeah.
just
So
shows how
lost.
much he's dedicated to doing what he's doing. That even after the unfortunate circumstance he's had to go through, he
Yeah.
still wanted to be a part of what he and essentially him, Pat, and Lou built.
Yes.
He still wants to be a part of it and wants to know that he wants to let everybody know that's been wondering how he's been, that he's okay and that he's
Yeah.
getting better. And we all love Joel. Joel's one of the funniest people in
Yes.
this YouTube community, well respected man. And it's just a pleasure to be able to see him be able to get on stream for a little bit and just wanting to go over there and just be around the people that he cares about, be around the people he enjoys talking sports, and just be around what makes him happy. And that's being able to go on this platform and not just talk about the New York Giants, but be able to talk about sports, like football in general. Just be around his boys. Just be around his good friends. So it was just a pleasure to be able to see Joel get back on stream and see that he's doing a lot better. So hopefully he continues to recover, feels a lot better, and can't wait to see him be
Yeah.
able to do this more often when he gets better. So prayers out to Joel, and it was so great to see him again. Love the dude.
It was, man.
Always and respect the hell out of him.
It really shook the room last night. I did not expect that at all. Like, so Lindy has a question for you guys, other than Jeff here.
I can answer it too.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Y'all got. I figured you didn't care. Y'all got to give me a solid thought on the bird center position. We may be okay this year, but there's going to be a huge transition once Kels is gone. Do y'all give Jurgens the green light? Say, go ahead, bud.
With that right guard position, me personally, when fully healthy, I would give it to Driscoll just because I think, and not even because of experience, I just think in terms of like right guard, he's better suited to be on the right side. And we've seen how he plays at right tackle. That's his probably like main position, but he's more on that right side with Lane Johnson, and I feel like Lane's like really taught him up well. And then you have Jurgens, and I think it's gonna be really those two because I don't know, man. Is Driscoll or is Sayamalu gonna take his spot back from Dickerson? I don't know. I think Sayamalu would start as a left guard on any other team if he wasn't on the Eagles, and maybe not the Colts or like Tampa, but he's a good guard. It's just that he's on the Eagles. He can't start like right away.
Why isn't Dickerson getting a shot at maybe being the center?
He should.
Because you don't want to break. You don't need to fix something that's not broken.
Yeah, Kelsey.
You know, Mailata and Dickerson next to each other, dude. That's the combo you want. You know, you can always draft a new center, and that's what they went out and did. You know, granted, he can play center, but why make him if he's doing such a great job over there already? You know what I mean?
I guess that makes sense.
You talking about center, Lindy? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I would keep. I don't know, man. I still keep Kelsey there.
No, he's asking, do you give Jurgen the green light? Are you comfortable with him being the center after Kelsey's gone?
Yes.
That's what he's asking.
Yeah, I think that should be like stamped. Like I understand that Dickerson can play that position. That's what he was brought in to do, but Jurgens is more like that, like just the center that we brought in right now.
It's similar to what the Giants are doing with a couple of their players that, you know, Shane Lemieux, who's mainly been a guard, has been transitioning to center a couple of times too. Eventually, if that kid Azudu beats him out at the left guard position, the kid out of UNC, or even Ben Bredesen, who was traded for by the Ravens last year, he's even a guy that can. He's played center recently too. So
yeah, I still personally feel like Dickerson is better at playing center than Jurgens. It's just that when you have Dickerson and Mailata on one side, I don't think you want to really break that up. I think you'd rather keep that there. And I think Dickerson is a better center than Jurgens. I don't think that's a question. It's just that it's like Mailata and Dickerson, two of those is just, I don't know how you're going to stop that. And then you got to get through that. So I think Jurgens is primarily going to be at center behind Kelsey once Kelsey's gone.
How much longer is Lane going?
Lane, he's going to go for a couple more years.
No, I give him about 2-3 max.
Yeah, I could see that.
And he's probably retiring an Eagle.
Yeah, for sure.
I would do that, yeah, and not just that. I'm not letting him go as long as we push JP. No, Jason Peters was pushed way too long.
No, don't be thinking about my defensive end, JP.
Yeah, no, JP. We pushed him way too long, man. We should have got him out of there like 2 years before we actually did. So when Johnson starts showing that, I hopefully this year, or that year that he starts showing it, we move on and draft his replacement if he's not here already.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my thoughts on the Jurgens thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kels did pick him out to be his successor, so I wouldn't mind seeing Jurgens there as well, because if you're to be a great offensive lineman like Kels in the organization, you get to hand pick your own offensive lineman and see the potential in the guy. I mean, that's pretty big though. So yeah, I can see him starting, but I'm about to mute my mic and count down. I'm still gonna be here while I'm doing this game, but I'm still gonna be here.
Yeah, you're good, bro. You're good.
That's a great
I feel like people forget that Dickerson. Yeah.
No, I just appreciate you joining us, bro.
Hey.
Seriously.
Hey, this is my signature.
Yeah, I was about to say that's
my
a
signature,
trademark.
man.
Trademark sunglasses.
My trademark.
Oh, the sunglasses are back.
I can
AK.
take them off, but
Ah!
I still personally feel like people forget that Dickerson would have been a top 20 pick.
I would say I picked his team to win the division this year, the Raiders. I'm picking the Raiders to win the division this year in the AFC West.
I got it being Chargers.
I like their team.
I appreciate your take.
Wait till we get there. I'm about to start. Whew.
Yeah, that's gonna be heated.
I jumped the gun a little bit. I can't help it. I see the Raiders and I like that team.
the man that I definitely wanted in on all this because I love his takes. You know what's going on. The other Dante number 2.
What's up, people?
How you
Yo.
doing, Dante?
Yo, good stream with Jimmy Smith, bro.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I love about having 2 channels now, dude, is I can double like shit.
Yeah.
That's the awesome part. Because there's sometimes, dude, some of you guys make awesome content. I was like, I wish I could like it more than once. And now I actually can.
You
Yeah.
got to
Just wait till we
stream
go-
with the legendary Jimmy Smith. Oh man, you are lucky.
Yeah, I had him on mine too, like a while back. He's a great guy. I love that guy.
Yeah.
One of
I
my favorite
love
receivers growing up.
His
Roger
energy,
Wood.
his energy is amazing.
He
Now,
definitely is a really good guy, man. Me and him chatted for about an hour after the stream, so me and him are planning to do some more stuff in the future. But yeah, it was definitely a very fun interview that I did with him.
yeah.
Kelsey, there's only 3 guys qualified to play center. Jurgen still has to work. To do no depth behind him. Year 1 has a lot behind Cam Jurgens. Or for Cam Jurgens.
Well, see, this is the way I look at it. I have a lot of faith in Driscoll. I do. I know he does have some injury issues, you know, and it's scary to some people, I guess, but I have a lot of faith in him. You know, I thought he did really well his rookie year playing right tackle for Lane when he had to step in, and I think he plays right guard very well. In all honesty, Driscoll could be that shining star we just don't know about yet. You know, I understand his health is a concern, but some people have rocky starts at the beginning and you know, pull it off and keep going. Like, for instance, didn't Matthew Stafford have a rocky beginning? Didn't he get injured a couple times and then he was healthy for 9 seasons? So, I mean, sometimes you just get off to a rocky start, but hopefully that's his case. But I don't know, man. Our offensive line I like it. I really like what we've done with it. You know, in all honesty, that's one that I'm not really truly worried about. So,
yeah, that and the defensive line. I don't know about those 2 positions.
Dude, we've always known that that's how we build, right? So I don't ever worry about it. I know that one year we had to worry, but dude, we had insanely god awful injuries that year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how often do 4 of your 5 starters get taken out?
That's
unheard of, you know, like
I know I'm used to it.
I got with our offensive line and D line is age. That's it. Behind that is youth there, so that's it.
So listen, guys, I definitely want to get into this. You know, this is, like I said, we are streaming on the AK Eagles podcast. We're streaming on Hardcore Sports and on Twitter right now. So thank you all for joining in. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Appreciate it.
I got to give you the link for the Twitch.
Yeah, I know, man. I thought about it, but it was too late. Let's start out with the AFC South. And you know, that when we go through this, I want you guys to give your opinions on these teams and kind of just give me a rough estimate and where you think right now before training camp on paper, where you see these guys falling in line 1 through 4. You know, I'm not going to take it serious. This is just us giving opinions, you know. So AFC South, you got the Colts, Jags, Titans, and the Texans. You know, a couple of these teams have made some improvements, some big improvements, and some have maybe taken a step back. How do you guys feel about the AFC West or AFC South? And, you know, let's hear it. Go ahead, Sly.
AFC South, I like the talent in that division. I'll start off with Jacksonville. That's my 4th team in that division. There's a lot of young talent there. Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen. I don't really like Caleb Chason, but I still got to throw him in the mix. But that's my 4th team right there. And if T-Law improves, then T-Law improves. I'm not really high on T-Law, but we'll see. And then you got they lost DJ Chark, I think. And who do they got? Marvin Jones. He's okay.
They got Christian Kirk.
And then Christian Kirk.
Marvin Hall.
Yeah. I got
some Birdman.
So they're my 4th team, and then my 3rd team is Houston. I'm really high on Houston. They're a very competitive team. A lot of young talent there. They added a lot of young talent in the draft, and I think that team is gonna shock a lot of people in terms of like just wins that they shouldn't have. And then 2 would be Tennessee, and then 1 is Indy. Just based off the order it was last year.
I'll send it to you, buddy.
Yeah.
So what was your 1 through 4 then, Slay?
I said 1 Indy, 2 Tennessee, and then 3 Texans for Jacksonville.
All right. Hey Dante, you there, buddy? Or
I think
he's still streaming his game.
yeah, well, he said he was going to be listening, so
Yeah.
I wasn't
sure. The Angels and Dodgers.
All right, go ahead, Eric. How you
Yeah,
feeling
for
about the
Dodgers.
AFC South, bud?
But the South is interesting, man. I think the 2 top teams are obviously the Colts and Tennessee, in my opinion. I think what the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Texans are doing is building a young. We know they're rebuilding. Urban Meyer kind of screwed them over last year. For Jacksonville, for the Texans, they were going through turmoil with a lot of things that was going on, but they're building a foundation of core young talent. And I like what they both did over the offseason. I think that Jacksonville overpaid a couple guys, but they need to in order to get better in general. I'm not a big fan of their management and bulky and stuff, but I think they're building something good, like I said. So I think I got Tennessee at number 1 still. I still believe in this Tennessee team. I think people are underestimating Tannehill, in my opinion. I mean, I think Tannehill is not a top 10 quarterback, in my opinion, but I still think that he's good enough to take them there. Yes, in the playoffs, they do horribly. They always, some way, somehow mess it up, but they're still a good regular season team, and that's why I have them at number 1. And their front 7 is one of the best in the league, in my opinion, easily. I like Robert Woods a lot. I really do when he's healthy, and that's the question: is he going to stay healthy? And Derrick Henry, is he going to be the same coming back? I still think yes. AJ Brown does throw a little bit of a shot at them. It kind of affects them, but I still believe in the Tennessee Titans and taking that division. And also another thing about the Colts and why I don't have them at number 1, even though they did get better at the quarterback position, in my opinion, the defensive coordinator Gus Bradley, I had a firsthand look at him last year, and yes, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. One off season is not gonna do it for a guy that's just coming in as defensive coordinator on the new team, but seeing him get 4 down after 4 down after 4 down, prevent defense, I don't like none of his defense. So for that reason, I feel like their defense, even though they got so much talent, he might screw over some of that talent, in my opinion. And sometimes the system is very key in different teams.
Maybe he fits your defense, or he fits their defense a little more than your defense. I don't know.
I don't believe in it. Tennessee number 1.
Yo, what's good, Birdman? How's it
What's
going,
up, man? Hey, that was a great show yesterday, man. You had me busting up, dude.
Thank you.
Busting up, man.
Yo, you asked good questions. You asked very good questions. I had thinking.
I had it. I love to spice up the show. I like it. I don't want you guys to get bored or fall asleep.
Yo, that tortilla thing, I was dying.
Oh yeah, AK. He said he'd do the tortilla challenge with you, man.
Wait, what?
There's
the tortilla challenge.
There's this thing on TikTok.
I said to do a tortilla challenge.
Yeah, he called you out. He said he would use.
Oh wait, the one that you slap each other with it?
Yeah, he said.
He was like any Eagles content creator. I couldn't think. I was like,
why did I not get that tweet? I've never seen that tweet. That's why I'm shocked.
It was on MK headlines.
Oh well, I didn't see it.
Yeah, he asked me which Cowboys content creator, and you guys.
Wait, what? I gotta slap myself with a tortilla?
No, you're gonna slap Mitch. You slap Mitch.
No. Dude, I'm not driving 3 hours to slap Mitch with a tortilla. Like that's.
I want to know what you guys are doing.
Is somebody gonna pay for my gas to do that? Because if so, I'll do it.
Oh, man,
I appreciate you being here, though, man. Seriously.
Yeah, but he asked me which Cowboys content creator I would do it with, and you guys know who I picked for that.
Oh, dude, I would fly to Texas to slap boys for that.
That'd be good. That'd actually be pretty good, man. That's a real good one.
Yo, shout out to him, man. He just had his.
Oh, yeah, Dante's turn because Dante's back.
It's actually mine.
Hey, Dante.
Dante didn't go.
You doing AFC South?
Yeah,
Yeah.
do AFC South for me real fast. Why you got a second?
I appreciate you.
Wow,
For being,
Jerry said he'll
Mitch.
slap me with a
I
38.
Shut
Wow.
up, Mitch.
Yeah,
I
Mitch,
got
stop
the
talking.
Indianapolis Colts. If this is the year that the Indianapolis Colts got to get it done, they got to get it done this year. That defense was top 10 in the National Football League last year. They got a capable MVP in Matt Ryan. Michael Pittman Jr. is a beast. Jonathan Taylor is going to have a very good year. The offensive
Ali
line is pretty
Cox.
solid. I like the receiver that they got out of the draft is underrated. Alec Pierce,
Alec
who runs
Pierce,
a
yeah.
4.3 speed. He's going to be very good. They got Jelani Woods as well as a tight end. Big 6'6" tight end is good. I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to go, I don't feel good about this, but I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. I think they're the most fraudulent team in our division. I don't think they're a very good team. I never thought they were going to make it to the Super Bowl or any further. Even I think the Raiders would have beat them. I think the Raiders would have beat them actually if they would have played the Raiders. So again, I got the Tennessee Titans. Treylon Burks, coming in out of shape, but that doesn't concern me. He just got to go every day and work out every day. He can get himself back in shape. But it's not a good look for him. But then I got my Texans and I got the Jaguars just because I know they got Christian Kirk. I know he's better. I know they overpaid for him, but the money brings the people in, brings the players in, and who's not going to take that type of money for Christian Kirk? He's a slot receiver. He's also very good, but again, it won't shock me if the Jaguars can somehow have a sneaky good season with those moves. But it all depends on Trevor Lawrence. How good can he improve? And you got the right coach with Doug Peterson. If there's anybody that can help Trevor Lawrence improve, it could be Doug Peterson. So I got the Colts winning this division.
Yeah, Doug.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mitch, what do you got for the AFC South, buddy? Sorry, were you saying something, Slay?
No, I was just saying now it's your turn, Mitch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just got back. But for the AFC South, here's my thing with the Colts. Robert Williams is the number one, right?
No.
And then who's the number?
Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah. All right, then. I mean, I guess they have good wide receivers then, but whether them have AJ Brown, that kind of worries me a little bit. But I would still pick the Colts at 1. I'll pick the Colts at 1. What they're doing is great, and once you have Derrick Henry, it's good, but his injury history does concern me. But before the injury history, he was on the mark to break 2,000 yards. So I'll do the Colts, Titans, Texans, and Jaguars. I really love the draft that the Texans did. I really did.
Okay.
Jeff?
I mean, you guys mentioned it before. This is the Colts' chance right now, and the reason why I'm picking them as the number one is that defense. That defense has got almost every position on there covered, and they just added to probably the weakest part of their defense in all season when they got Stephon Gilmore to man up one of those cornerback spots. And I mean, their offense, you add an Alec Pierce, you add a Jelani Woods, you have arguably the best running back right now with Taylor. You got Pittman, who's an underrated number one receiver. And I mean, Matt Ryan is an upgrade at quarterback over Carson Wentz. So the Colts, as long as they can stay healthy, and their offensive line is one of the best offensive lines too. So as long as the Colts can stay healthy, they should be able to take that division. The Titans, the one thing I like about the Titans, and I love their coach, love the old school mentality he brings to that team. The defense, the pass rush is great over there. They have Byard in the secondary. Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, but I worry about that team's offensive line. They've gotten worse. Now Lawan's not the same left tackle he was, and they just lost Saffold in free agency. Plus, their wide receiver position is a lot weaker when you lose an A.J. Brown. You don't have Julio Jones there anymore. You're asking for rookie Treylon Burks to come in there and arguably the number one receiver. Who knows what Robert Woods is going to be like coming off an ACL. That being said, I would still probably say they're the number two because I just think a team like Houston is a little bit too young. It is going to be a team that's going to take a little bit of time. So I would probably take Houston as my number three. I like Davis Mills. Brandon Cooks, can we give this guy the respect he deserves for going out there and consistently putting up 1,000-yard receivers? 1,000-yard every single year. Nobody ever talks about the guy. So I would say that the Texans, they love what they did on the defense, Love Mechie in the third round. I think he's going to be an underrated wide receiver added to that team. I even like Pierce added to the running back position, so I think they're going to be third. And, the Jaguars, it's all going to come down to what Trayvon Walker is going to give them on the defensive line along with Josh Allen, and what are they going to get from Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence has got to have a bounce-back season going to his second year because everybody anointed this kid as the next great quarterback, the next Peyton Manning-type quarterback coming in. I don't love Christian Kirk getting that much money, but, he's a solid receiver. Zay Jones, he's okay. Marvin Jones, he's up there in age, but he could be a solid player. Laviska Shenault, I'm curious to see how they're going to use him. What are you going to get from ETN coming back? Their offensive line, they did get Brandon Sheriff, so that's a nice addition to their offensive line. You did keep Cam Robinson, a left tackle. So they have some pieces there, but I think the Jaguars overall are the fourth best team. So I would go Colts, then Titans, then Texans, and Jaguars.
Yeah, Lawrence is the fourth best quarterback in that division, in my opinion. I'm gonna just be honest.
All right, Dante.
That,
this is your division, my guy. You are the expert, the QB couch guy, right? So hit us with it.
There's a lot to say about this division. I honestly think the AFC South is going to be more competitive than a lot of other divisions, to be completely honest with you. And I'm not saying that because I'm a homer. I'm saying that because of the movement that happened, regardless if it was good or bad. And I think it's going to be the hardest division to kind of predict. So we haven't really got on this on my show, so this isn't official, but just like you said, AK, just as of initial thoughts.
Yep.
We'll start off with the Jaguars, right? I think the Jaguars are going to be at the number 4 spot. And the reason why, of course, you guys are talking about Christian Kirk, but one thing you got to keep in mind is for teams to bring – so if you think about the history of a lot of teams, every team my volume's low. Hold on.
Yo,
That
Dante,
should be better.
Real quick, you are good. Do you guys still have Marvin Jones Jr.?
We do.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, with that being said, to bring in somebody like Christian Kirk, to bring him to Jacksonville, you have to pay these players money. It is what it is. A lot of people are like, he overpaid, but you're going to Jacksonville, who has absolutely no history of winning anything. So, with that being said, you have to pay those type of players. And if you go through our roster, I think Laviska Shenault is still the best receiver on our team until proven otherwise. Trevor Lawrence, I haven't been a big believer in him. Travis Etienne, I don't know what he's going to do with them. Give James Robinson the rock more. Our whole defense is pretty much new. Andrew Wingard at safety was a pretty bright spot in some of those games last year, and nobody really talks about that. Cam Robinson is overrated. We should never pay him the money that he got. So with that being said, I could talk about the Jaguars all day, but we're sitting there at number 4 until proven otherwise. Number 3, I actually have the Titans being at number 3.
Thank you.
So the success that they're having, of course, always comes down to the coach and how he's going to call that offense. But losing A.J. Brown, I think, was a severely to see the frustration that was on Mike Vrabel's face when they traded him away is the same frustration that I dealt with as well, seeing him go, because he did so much for the offense. And one thing that people don't talk about A.J. Smith is he's one of the toughest wide receivers in the country or in the NFL. In 2020, the dude had 2 torn knees and played the whole season, made the Pro Bowl, and was a 1,000-yard receiver. Nobody gives that dude enough credit by how tough he is. He's not going to give up on his team. But this is one of those years where they've had a little bit of controversy. Regardless of what you say, controversy around your team is not good. Hassan Haskins, I think, is a severely overrated running back coming out of college. I don't think he's NFL ready quite yet. He's not going to do as well as what some people are projecting. Malik Willis and Ryan Tannehill is going to be a thing all season because we're going to see a digression from Ryan Tannehill, regardless of what people say. We're going to see it. Treylon Burks has a huge question mark around him. I've already talked about that. But I think still the bright spot of their whole team is still going to be their defense, but that defense is not going to win championships on this go around. Number 2, I have the Houston Texans being the number 2 team. So I love Lovie Smith. People want to talk about that he's not a good coach, man. This dude went to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman as his quarterback.
Yep.
And I think right now, when you look at all the rookie quarterbacks from last year, and I saw this in college, Stanford, their second half of their year with Davis Mills was incredible, and nobody talks about this kid. And I think he's going to take 5,000 steps forward, and we're going to be talking about him as one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And also, if you look at their running back room, I'll always talk about depth at each position room. Marlon Mack is going to be your running back. Rex Burkhead is one of the most underrated running backs. And they picked up Damian Pierce, which he was my favorite running back coming out of college.
Papa Shura.
Now, Brandon Cooks, I've already done a video on him. Here's a little stat for everybody. Most underrated receiver in the league. 6 out of the 8 years that he's played, he's had 1,000 yards. 4 of those years were on different teams, and he had 1,000 yards on 4 different teams. John Mechie was the number 2 slot receiver in college last year. Huge weapon. Philip Dorsett, fast and strong. Jalen Camp, I don't think gets enough love on your team, coach. And I think he's going to take a step up. And then that defense, one of the best linebackers in the NFL to me. Kamu Grige-Hill is one of the best linebackers in the NFL. He does not get enough credit. And to go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Underrated linebacker last year. Very underrated.
Yeah, man. And just to go ahead and wrap this thing up, I got the Indianapolis Colts being the number 1 team. Look, I don't care what anybody says. Matt Ryan is a step up on that team from Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz had a lot of pressure on him going to the Colts. Matt Ryan's in the later half of his career, and he's still playing at a very high level. Nick Foles is also his backup. You have 2 strong quarterbacks. Your quarterback room is very strong. Jack Cohen from Notre Dame. You're bringing another young guy that can come and step up on the plate. But look at their running back room. Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, Philip Lindsay, and Tyson Williams that came over from Baltimore last year. Another strong room. Michael Pittman Jr., Alex Pierce is no joke. And Paris Campbell does not get enough love that he deserves either. And I know you guys mentioned Mo Alley Cox, and one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Then you go down the list of everybody that's on their defense. Kwity Paye had a great year. DeForest Buckner, Pro Bowl. Yannick Ngakoue was a former Pro Bowler, and I think he's still got a lot of gas in the tank. Grover Stewart is awesome. Darius Leonard, I think, is the best linebacker. Kenny Moore was a Pro Bowler last year. Rodney McLeod is no joke. And then who did they pick up in the offseason to complete that package?
Stephon Gilmore.
Mm-hmm. So you tell me who the best team is in the AFC South. It's the Colts.
The Colts.
I rest my case.
The Colts are such a
well said.
team.
I love that. I love that list, dude, and I love what you did with the Texans. And it sucks that there's so many of us on here because now I want to go. But go ahead, Birdman.
All right, I'm just gonna keep it real short and sweet, but that was pretty good, Dante.
Nah, it was.
I'm gonna go Colts 1. I think they got enough experience all around. Just Carson came up short, in the moment. Ryan, he's actually been to the bowl, so there's that. And then I'm gonna go with King Henry and the Titans, number 2. If you guys want to be the man, you got to take out the man, and no one's stopped him yet. Yeah, he could get injured, but that man is just he's this guy. This is Henry right here.
Yeah.
Don't mess with Henry. This is literally him running down the field. And then I'm gonna go Jacksonville number 3, because I feel that Dougie P is gonna just kind of guide the quarterback at where he needs to be. I think this is going to be his last chance for romance. The golden boy with his locks and hair. Maybe I haven't cut his hair or something. And then I'm going to go Texans. I don't think they're going to be ready. They're going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be quite ready yet. I'm not sure what they're doing at quarterback. That's it.
What's up, Nas? Welcome to the show, my guy.
What's up?
Nas, good live play-by-play, bro.
I like him.
Yeah. Can't wait till you can start doing that stuff for hardcore, man. We'll have it up and running hopefully this week coming up. So, yeah, man. So hit us with it, dude. AFC South, what you got?
At number 4, I think I'm gonna go with the Jaguars. I think that Trevor Lawrence should take a step in the right direction, but I think there's a lot of questions still with the rest of the team. It's a lot of questions on, Travis Etienne, even though you do have James Robinson. but he needs to get utilized better. There's questions with that. I want to see Lovie Smith take the next step, so hopefully he can do that. You have a lot of young and unproven guys. Your offensive line is still a little unproven as well down there in Jacksonville, so that's a question. And I don't think Cam Robinson's like the end all be all to like be your great offensive lineman to like lead the pack. So
He's gonna be trash again.
Yeah.
I kind of agree. And then the defense, I actually like the defense a little bit this year, but I just think the Jaguars are going to win like 5 to 6 games, but they're going to be competitive in a lot of them, kind of like the Lions of last season. How the Lions were very competitive in some games, but they still lost a lot of them. So that's what I have at number 4. At number 3, now I like this team too, but I'm gonna still have the Texans because as great as Davis Mills is, or showed to be last year, and he will take a next step. I think the surrounding pieces scare me a little bit. Brandon Cooks is great, but the running backs, I want to see that running back core get a little way better. I want to see your offensive line get way better, and I just don't trust it fully right now. And they have a lot of underrated pieces on that defense. I mean, y'all brought up Camus Gurley. Was a former Eagle, didn't work out here, but now he went over to Houston and found a home for himself. So I look for him to also improve as still a younger linebacker. So I'm gonna have them at number 3. At number 2, I'm gonna go with Tennessee. Now I don't think Ryan Tannehill was that great, and he's already getting older. So I mean, when you were a above average quarterback in your prime, what do you think we're gonna be when you're regressing? Right, you're gonna not be
I
that
have an
great.
argument against that, but okay.
Okay, that's cool. that's cool. I mean, I can see why you think Tannehill might be higher or lower, but I just think Derrick Henry, man, no matter what Tannehill is, whether he's great, whether he's not, Derrick Henry, as long as he stays on the field, will be the best running back in football. Because when he was on the field, he hasn't he's proven no one's proven us otherwise. Um, and I think they still got Kevin Byard on that defense, who's going to lead the secondary. They have some nice big men on the defensive line. Jeffrey Simmons is just, I don't know why he's so underrated on the D line.
He's awesome.
Harold Landry is one of the best front 7 players that don't get talked about at all as well.
Bud Dupree too.
But Dupree, they acquired him from Pittsburgh, who can really rush the passer. So they got a lot of studs in the defensive line and the front 7. And I have them at number 2 because Derrick Henry's going to carry that offense. And they, Robert Woods is not a number 1, but he'll be manageable for Ryan Tannehill to get the ball to at times. But at number 1, I'm gonna have to go with the Colts. When you look at what Jonathan Taylor did last year, when Derrick Henry was healthy, there was only one running back competing with him, and that was Jonathan Taylor. And when Derrick Henry got hurt, there was no running backs competing with Jonathan Taylor when it comes to rushing yards last season. And that's because that dude is a monster. Dude, 15 carries a game, still got 100 yards. 30 carries a game, still got 100. It does not matter. He will always produce for you. And then you got Matt Ryan, who's an upgrade at quarterback. Now, I'm not saying he has a little more skills than Carson Wentz because he is getting older. But when it comes to the mental part of the game and when it comes to managing the game at a high level still being able to make some plays, Matt Ryan can do that for you. Michael Pittman Jr., he's going to take another leap going into this season from year 2 to 3. And then I got and I think someone in here, I think it was Dante, who said the running back core with Nyheim Hines and Phillip Lindsay is just it's great. It's great. So they're gonna run the ball for days. They have weapons to give it to. I don't see why the Colts don't finish number 1. And then they got one of the best linebackers in all of football, Darius Leonard, who's an all-pro linebacker. You got Stephon Gilmore, who still has gas in the tank, by the way. I mean, in Carolina last year, he didn't fit in all the way. He still has some great lockdown moments last year. So the Colts are going to be the best overall team in that division. And honestly, I don't see. I can see the Titans argument a little bit because Derrick Henry has just been carrying them for so long. But other than that, I see no argument that they're number 1.
Yeah.
No, I like that, man. So for me, I actually have my list the same as Dante down there, ECG. Listen, I respect Doug Peterson. I really like what Marvin Jones Jr. did for you guys last year. We don't know what ETN is. I love James Robinson. Huge supporter of him. Have him in fantasy almost every year. But listen, I believe Doug is the missing piece to your team. He was for ours. I believe he's going to be good no matter what team he goes to. But I really feel his year will be next year. You know, you guys are still rebuilding, like you said, this year. You guys got a lot of great pieces, but I just don't believe it's just there yet. Y'all got to learn each other, and you know, you got to just get that chemistry down yet. So I think your big leap comes next year. For number 3, listen, like Dante down there said, AJ Brown, losing him, that's a hurt, a really big hurt. You know, Burks has a little bit of learning yet to do. I get he is really good, but you know, Tannehill, some people like him, some people don't. Willis, quarterback controversy. And you're going to be leaning a lot on Derrick Henry this year because they got rid of AJ Brown, and you know, he's not getting any older. He's carried the rock a lot. I get it. He's handed out more punishment than he ever took, but miles do matter. You know, if he stays healthy, they shouldn't have an issue, but that's an if, you know. And then you go to 2. I do have the Texans there, man. Listen, Dante knows more than anybody. Coach Dante. Dude, I am a huge supporter of Lovie Smith. I have loved Lovie Smith from the moment he was in Chicago, man. I have much respect for that man, and I even wanted him as our defensive coordinator before we got JG. You know, I thought Nick and Lovie Smith would make a great combination, you know, but that didn't happen. So, but listen, people play for Lovie Smith. Players play for him. He is a player's coach. They love this man. He's going to bring a lot of energy to the Texans. Davis Mills is a dog for where they got him and all that, dude. This kid really showed a lot last year with little talent, you know. Dameon Pierce is going to be a huge weapon. I'm telling you right now. That's going to be an awesome addition to that offense. And then, like my boy said down there, Cooks, another good weapon, and Mechie. And dude, that defense last year was on point. They were. You know, Lovie Smith does not take bullshit. You either play or you don't. You know, and he don't play favorites either. So I really like what the Texans have going, man. I think they've really taken a leap forward.
And AK, just if I can jump in there just for a quick, teeny tiny second about Lovie Smith. If you're talking about coaches that have done it the right way, the dude was a high school coach, went to Tulsa, Wisconsin, Arizona State, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio State. Yep. Buccaneers, Rams, Bears, Buccaneers again. Went back to Illinois a couple years ago, and now is back in the NFL. If you're talking about a guy that's doing it the right way and deserves a lot of your respect, I don't know what else to say about the guy other than that. He's done.
And everywhere he goes, dude, he's respected.
Exactly.
Literally,
that's the key word right there. Respected.
Yeah, it's so hard to hate this man. You can't hate him. Like, he is that player's coach. You know, he puts you in the right position to win football games. That is what he does, and I respect him for it, man. I think I was so pissed at Dante whenever they kept him. I was like, man, I hope they get a new head coach and then they end up letting him go, and then we can pick him up and fire JG. But damn you, Dante, damn you.
And then another thing before you go, AK, is no one has touched on their secondary, bro. Desmond King, Steven Nelson.
No, they have a good secondary, too. That defense was lit.
Oh, my God, bro. Their secondary is talented.
The secondary is a lot better.
That's talented, man. They got a lot of youth there.
And then Colts are obviously number 1 for me. And the only reason I say that is because Matt Ryan. You know, the only thing that the Colts missed last year was a game manager. That's all Carson had to do was just manage a game. Well, guess what? Matt Ryan can manage the hell out of a game. So I'm going to just give them even more wins this year than what they had last year just due to that fact alone. Experience will trump talent any day. And Matt Ryan will be able to just sit back in that pocket and expose defenses, kind of like Tom Brady does. So it's going to be interesting to see what they got going on there, man.
Fact. Such an efficient passer, bro. Dude had no O-line, still put up numbers. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, no, I love where we're all at there, man. We're all pretty much in the same vicinity. So,
hey, cool, Kev, for that comment on Brandon Cooks. He actually is not that injured as what people think, man. I mean, every player. Yeah, every player has like a game or two where they're out a season on the regular now because I agree with what George Kittle said, today. He said we need another bye week in the NFL. College gets two on a shorter season. They get two or three on a shorter season, and they only get one. They need one more week to recover, man. But yeah, Brandon Cooks is not that injured like people think he is. He had like one down year because of injuries, and he's been putting up 1,000 yards. So you talk about another tough guy like AJ Brown. You got to throw Brandon Cooks in there too, man.
Yep.
Mhm.
So this one, man, I can't wait to hear what y'all got for this because this is probably the one that people are going to have controversial with me with. Let's talk about the AFC North. That is the Ravens, Steelers, Browns, and Bengals.
Damn.
This is a very, very interesting division. It can swing a lot of different ways here. So, BPS, wait, you know what? No, I'll wait. Damn it. I shouldn't, but I will. Go ahead, BPS.
Wait, what?
I was going to do mine first to just get it, but I'm not. No, go for it.
All right,
Oh, okay.
give
I
me
was just like, wait a
one.
minute.
Give me one Baltimore. I think Baltimore is the best team in this division, in my opinion. I love what they did. Travis Jones, Tyler Linderbaum. Uh, shoot, their tight ends are stacked. They got tight ends on deck. J.K. Dobbins coming off the injury. Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and they got that. Oh, the guy I forgot his name, but you have pieces there, bro. Like that Ravens team has so much talent, and then one thing that I don't like that people are saying is Lamar is going to be gone this year. Like, what are you talking about? Lamar is staying with the Ravens um until he just doesn't want to stay there. And then maybe go to like somewhere like Miami, which I don't think is going to happen, other than if it's in the future. So, give me Baltimore one, and then two. This is so hard. When fully healthy, I think it's the Browns. Um, that's so hard, bro. I'm gonna say it's the Bengals, then the Browns. But if Deshaun is playing his games, if he starts like to like what week 5, up until week 5, the Browns can win a lot of those games. And I don't know what's going on with Baker, so I'm gonna say one Baltimore, two Bengals, and then three probably the Browns, and then four Steelers.
Okay. Dante, what you got, brother?
I'm gonna go with the champs from last year. All they needed to do was bolster up their offensive line. They did that. Not the champs, but the divisional champs. The divisional champs, which is the Bengals. I don't believe they will have a drop off. I believe they will be a playoff team, but I don't think they will get back to the Super Bowl. I believe they still will make the playoffs and win this division. They will do good enough to win this division, but I don't believe they'll make it back to where they were last year. So I got them as number one. I got the Baltimore Ravens as 2. I believe Baltimore is going to compete for a wild card spot. I believe that defense is going to be solid this year. Getting the Kyle Hamilton in the draft, and a Travis Jones, Patrick Queen at linebacker. You got some guys over there, man. You definitely got some guys over there that can play the defense. They're going to be able to run the football because Lamar Jackson is going to be a part of the run game as well as those running backs, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins and stuff like that. So I got the Ravens at number 2. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 3. And the only reason why, because the quarterback situation is questionable. That's the only reason why. But I think the defense is going to keep them in a lot of games. And Najee Harris, if you look at what this guy did for the Steelers last year, catching out of the backfield and running the football as well, very productive. The man down there put up 400 yards in the air. Then put up 400 yards in the air catching the football alone. So he did a lot for that offense last year. And I got the Cleveland Browns because the quarterback situation, Deshaun Watson is even in more trouble. Mari Cooper, not good against big-time cornerbacks. He shuts down against elite-type cornerbacks. And Donovan Peoples-Jones is solid, but he's he's okay. But again, the Browns defense was ranked 20th in the National Football League. If Myles Garrett not getting no pressure, who else is on the other side is going to get some pressure?
Jadeveon Clowney.
Jadeveon Clowney is good as well, but if they're not getting on, I believe teams will eat them up, eat them alive. But I got the Browns in 4th just because I don't think the offense will be as good because of the quarterback situation.
Bro, my man said the Ravens are 3, Richie. Come on, man. You wild, man.
Wait, the Lightning are going overtime now? Shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go, Pop. I'm happy for you, brother. Seriously. All right, ECG. Low minds.
All right. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is gonna be the most competitive division in football this year.
Even more competitive than AFC West?
Absolutely.
Oh wow, okay.
I think with the AFC West, and I know we'll get to talk about that, but I think the AFC West is in the middle of the year. It's going to be a severe shift on where you're going to start seeing teams. But I think there's 3 teams in this division that are going to be battling out for number 1. You're going to see the number 1 change almost every single week. And this one was hard for me to pick as far as rankings, but as I see it right now, if we got to start it out at number 4, right, I think you got the Browns sitting there. Too much controversy on that team. I don't think Kevin Stefanski's magic is going to last this year. I feel bad for Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt because there's such a dynamic duo at running back. And unfortunately, the best part of their team is going to be their defense once again on that front 7, and that's pretty much it. You're going to see Myles Garrett just dominate again this year, and he's going to be the bright spot of that team. Everybody knows here, regardless of how you feel about Deshaun Watson, I don't think the NFL is going to allow this dude to play. And with that many allegations coming out, I mean, we all know he's a great quarterback here. It can be top 10 every single year. But it's too much pressure for that team to deal with, and they're going to crumble, and the Browns are going to brown. Now this is the one that's going to surprise you, the Bengals at number 3. I don't think they're going to have the success that they did last year. I'm not the biggest believer of those 2 cornerbacks they got. I thought Awuzie looked like complete trash in the playoffs. I think Eli Apple was just as bad. I think Awuzie was worse than him. If you watched, anything in that playoffs, it was like Jesse Bates was the bright spot of that secondary, but Jesse Bates was absolute trash during the season. So with that being said, they're still in a controversy there. I don't know. They picked up a lot of pieces with that offensive line, but sometimes offensive lines, we've seen it throughout the years that it takes time for them to mesh and get their timing right. And then we all know about the Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and all those guys. The list goes on and on and on. I think they're going to put up a ton of points, but they're just going to barely squeak out of games. And Jamar Chase is going to look awesome again. Now, these top 2 teams, man, they're gonna split at home. They're one of the best rivalries in football, but this one hurt me to put them at number 2. But I had the Baltimore Ravens at number 2.
My God.
So here's why. Here's why. They're gonna have J.K. Dobbins back. They're still gonna be one of the best rushing offenses out there. But I don't think Mark Andrews is gonna have that incredible of a year like he has in the past. Rashad Bateman can't be the only one that gets it done. Devin Duvernay is still a question mark in that offense. And again, Lamar Jackson is going to Lamar Jackson this year. I mean, he's been good. He's going to stay good. But I don't think that defense right now is going to mesh like they are next year. Next year, they're going to be the best defense in football. Mark my words right now. But who I think has that and even more, and one guy that's being severely overlooked because of the way that he was dealt with in the Bears offense. I think Mitch Trubisky is going to be one of the best quarterbacks out there, man. I think he's going to be in that top 10 conversation this year. We've seen it plenty of times. He was on and off like a light switch, but when he was on, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I have no doubt in my mind, him going to the Steelers offense and the faith that Mike Tomlin's got out there. And like I said, AK knows this.
Yep.
You draft a young guy to come in that quarterback room, and it's going to test everybody there. And they brought in Kenny Pickett not to be the starter, but to see where Mitch Trubisky is really, what his litmus test is going to be this year. You brought him in. It's going to be excellent for that team. I think Mitch Trubisky is going to do really, really well. And I mean, if you just look at that offense, man, Najee Harris is going to take a big jump this year. Benny Snell is not a running back that you want to overlook. Deontay Johnson is the most underrated wide receiver, really on paper, that nobody talks about, and puts up 1,000 yards every single season.
Yep.
Pat Fryermuth is the next coming of your next great blocking tight end in the NFL that has great hands. He reminds me of Jason Witten so much. And they just haven't involved him in the pass game like that. And people know the defense. They put another perfect piece just like they did with Minkah Fitzpatrick. Everybody remembers when he got traded from the Dolphins, and they were winning games because of Minkah Fitzpatrick being there. He had a down year last year, but that contract that he got today was well worth it to me. Miles Jack, you just put one of the most perfect pieces for their team in place. It hurt my soul watching him go from Jacksonville, but I was happy for the guy that he's actually going to a winning team. He's going to get what he deserves. Chris Boswell, nobody talks about him enough. Great place kicker.
Yep.
Get you 3 points whenever you need it. They are the complete package right now, I think, and I have them at number one, man. And it's not clear. I think those three teams are going to be interchangeable like Legos, but I think at the end of the season, hard-fought battle in Week 17 to squeak them out at the number one spot. So AFC North.
I fucking love it. Oh, I can't wait for my turn. All right, go ahead, Jeff.
That's balls. Because I understand why you're picking Pittsburgh number one, but for my list, number 4, because of the whole quarterback controversy, I got to put Cleveland number 4 because who knows what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. That's just a big cloud right over that team. I mean, they have some talent on the defensive side. We all know what Myles Garrett can do. Clowney's solid. Denzel Ward is another very solid cornerback. I mean, not a lot of people talk about him. He's one of the best cornerbacks in football. They have a pretty solid secondary. I mean, Cooper, he's not a great number 1, but he's still a guy that can get it done. He's quarterback friendly. Donovan Peoples-Jones is not that bad. Their offensive line is still very solid. I mean, they have arguably the best running back duo in football. But I just think that quarterback issue is going to be a big problem with them. Number 3, I'm picking the Steelers because I don't believe in Mitchell Trubisky. I'm sorry. I don't believe in that guy. I know he has shown ability in the past, but I just don't believe him. I don't like their offensive line. I do agree Deontay Johnson is one of the most underrated wide receivers, but that guy has major drop issues, and who knows where his head is completely right now with some issues, with contract issues. The guy wants to get paid right now, so you don't know where his head is completely. Claypool's another guy that's had some drop issues. I think the only way that team really truly makes the jump towards the top of the division is that defense. And I do agree, Miles Jack is a big addition to that defense.
Levi Wallace.
Watt is unbelievable. Fitzpatrick got paid today, deserves it. But I just think that I got to give respect to the two teams ahead of him. That's why I put Pittsburgh number 3, and I just don't believe in Mitchell Trubisky. Number 2, I'm going to say the Baltimore Ravens. I like their running back room, but all these guys are coming back off serious injuries, so we don't know where they are right now coming into a season. It usually takes guys coming off Achilles and torn ACLs at least a half a season to a season until they round into form, so you don't know where they're going to be. I love Mark Andrews as a tight end. I think he's one of the upper echelon guys. I still think he'll be able to go out there and put up some numbers, but losing Hollywood Brown isn't taking a big piece out of that offense. I mean, can you trust Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, and these guys on the wide receiver core to get the job done? Prochet as well. And the offensive line, too. I mean, what are you going to get from Stanley, a guy that's coming off back-to-back years of severe season-ending injuries? What are you going to get from this guy at left tackle? The offensive line is still a big-time question. And, I mean, the defense, while I think Hamilton was a great addition to that linebacking core, I do love Tyus Bowser. I mean, I'm a big fan of Ola. I think Ola was one of the best young defensive pass rushers last year. Ojabo is going to be a nice addition, but you're not expecting much from him this year. And, I mean, what are you going to get from guys like Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters coming off injury too? So you have to think about that. And then Lamar Jackson, still one of the best quarterbacks in this league, but he's had a little bit of inconsistency. What are you going to get from him this year? So that's why I put him number 2. And I'm sorry, I'm not disrespecting the Bengals. I'm going to put them as number 1. I still think that the biggest issue with that team going into this offseason was they needed to improve that offensive line, and I believe they did. I think La'el Collins was a huge addition to the right tackle position. I like Alex Kappa coming off that Tampa Bay line. So I mean, I really like the additions they added to that offensive line. I think Hubbard and Hendrickson are some of the most underrated defensive ends in football. B.J. Hill, who was a former New York Giant, this guy is an underrated guy on the defensive line. He made some plays in the Super Bowl. I do agree the secondary is a little bit of an issue, but I like Daxton Hill, adding him to that secondary. I mean, the other I just lost the name of the other safety. He's really solid. I mean, and come on, the offensive playmakers, Chase, Higgins, Boyd, Mixon, these guys were on the field. They're a problem for every single defense going into, any game. And then Burrow, I think he's even going to take a bigger step towards an MVP level coming into this year. So I've got to give it to the Bengals, number one. I'm just going to give respect to the AFC champions. I think they are still the best team in the AFC North.
Wow, that's crazy.
I like that too, man. In a way, I don't want to disrespect the Bengals either, but to a point, I think last year a lot of people took the Bengals for granted. And they really this year are starting to take them serious. I think after that Super Bowl appearance, people had their eyes open. A lot of people are going to be scheming to stop Jamar Chase. They're going to be scheming to stop Higgins and Boyd and slow down Jamar or Joe Burrow.
Joe
and
Mixon has injury issues.
Yeah, everybody's going to try to figure out how to slow this offense down because they saw what it could truly do last year. So for my 4, I agree with you guys. I have the Browns at 4 because just of the QB situation. These guys are cursed. Somehow, some way, I don't know what the hell happened back in the day, man, but they're cursed. All right. At number 3, this is where it gets a little twisted between me and East Coast here. Like he said, they could flop both back and forth, but listen, I put Baltimore at 3 just because you got rid of Brown, and I do love Bateman. I think Bateman can be a really good wide receiver in this league, but wide receiver has never really been Baltimore's strong suit here for a while. You know what I mean? It's not. They're more run than they are pass, and even when they pass, their wide receivers. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be Baltimore's downfall right there. And Jeff made a good point. We don't know how these guys are going to come back yet. So until I actually see them on the field, I just have to kind of roll with that. And that's where I got to give Cincy their props because, they were in the Super Bowl last year. So I actually have Cincy at 2. And like I said, they take a step back just because of the fact that everyone's going to be gunning for them this year. Everyone has circled Cincy on their schedules to take them legit, So I think you're going to see a lot more people play them harder. And then number 1, he's not lying, dude. This Pittsburgh team is going to be disgusting. You have to realize something. Their head coach, Mike Tomlin, has never had a losing season, ever in his career. Not one. All right, and if you look at Mitchell Trubisky and you look at Big Ben, when they were both young, well, Mitch is young, but when Ben was young, they kind of play the same way. Ben wasn't mobile, but if he got in pressure, he could break a lot of tackles and he could get out of the way and chuck the ball down the field. That's kind of what Mitch is bringing back to Mike Tomlin's offense. A lot of people sleep on Mitch, and a lot of people, Kenny Pickett could be that guy. I'm not going to say he is, but he could be. And listen, they have really good wide receivers. Johnson, listen, in my opinion, Big Ben was the reason he was the one holding them back these last 2 years. They held on to him too long. I understand, but Ben was just at the end of his era, But Trubisky and Pickett, dude, they'll be able to bomb the ball down the field again effectively. And Johnson's underrated. Claypool is going to be a monster in this league. I said it when they had Emmanuel Sanders before they traded him. I was like, why would you guys trade Emmanuel? And my wife's like, I don't know. I was like, that was a stupid decision. I really liked Emmanuel there. And, they've always been able to produce wide receivers. Najee Harris is going to be a freaking monster, guys. I'm not playing. This kid is going to demolish defenses. If he doesn't do it this year, he's going to do it next year. But you have to realize he carried the ball 300 times last year and didn't fumble until the playoff game. That was the only fumble he had all season as a rookie. No one has done that. That's very impressive, man. This kid is legit. And their defense, by far, is the best in this whole division. By far. And I have TJ Watt breaking the sack record this year. Hands down. He's going to crush it. I have a feeling. So I got to put Pittsburgh there just because of their defense, man, their head coach, and they're very underrated. I know a lot of people even say, hey, they're fourth on this list. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to say this real quick. That's why I agree with I do understand where you and Dante's point are coming from, AK, because of that defense and because of Najee Harris and what he did for that offense last year. Why I could see, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh bouncing around from first place all over the place, but at the same time, I got to see Mitch Trubisky go out there and actually do it. I got to see him actually go out there and get it done when it matters in order to start believing in him. And right now, I just don't believe him right now because he hasn't showed it yet. But if that defense can round into form.
Yeah, I think the only argument to that is, having a really shitty coach for his whole career. And also, what I don't think a lot of people factor in, and I think it matters a whole deal, and I think this is either why Justin Fields is going to have a lot of success or he's not. It's because the Bears organization is terrible when it comes to offensive players. They always have been. They always predicated that team around their defense. And with that being said, this dude used to walk in to that facility every single day with the TVs, always talking something about him, like, take the TVs out, like, that front office never believed in him either. You never heard any good publicity coming out. And I have friends that are Chicago's Bears friends, and that live in Chicago. They're like, there was nothing ever good coming from the front office about Mitch Trubisky. So, I mean, a lot of people say, like, maybe he didn't know the playbook that well. Maybe he didn't take it as serious. But I'm like, the team didn't really take him as serious at all either, of, like, making him their number one quarterback. And that's just hearsay. You know what I'm saying? I totally agree with you. Like, he has... Outside of that, he does have a lot to prove on the field. What I seen is what I seen. We seen, honestly, a really small sample size of how great he possibly can be, but we seen how really shitty he can be too, all at the same time. So, and my camera doesn't like that I said that, obviously.
Let me see if I can cross this at you real fast.
Yep.
Do you think, in terms of him being in Chicago, that maybe, Nagy wasn't the one saving him those 4 or 5 years, that it was actually Trubisky that saved him and gave him the longevity as a head coach? Because in my mind, dude, there was a lot of games that they were out that Mitchell Trubisky made shit happen, and in a way he kind of saved Nagy from getting fired quicker.
And Tariq Cohen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and Allen Robinson, if you want to go down the laundry list of guys that, like, always showed promise under a really shitty regime of coaches, they definitely were bright spots. And now you have Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields just trying to do everything they can with David Montgomery. I mean, yeah, man, I honestly think it's, let's see what his psyche's like around a team that fully invests into every single one of those players. All 53 guys matter, and they hear that not only from the president of the team, but it comes down to even the practice squad players that believe in them too. Like the Steelers have a grade A organization from top to bottom, man. Yeah, and it only builds your confidence. I mean, just take it like this: we know Ben Roethlisberger sucked the last 2 seasons, and they still trusted that guy as their number one guy.
Yeah,
I mean, that's incredible.
Dude, that's a down season. Like, those last 2 seasons were down seasons for Pittsburgh, and they still were winning records.
But their guy is their guy, man, through and through.
Yeah, and no lie, man. Like, we all got to realize too. Nagy is not Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, if anyone can turn Michael or Mitchell Trubisky around, it's Tomlin. I've even said the best place for Carson Wentz to have went before he went to Indy was Pittsburgh. One, he plays exactly like Big Ben does. He is a guy who will shoot the ball down the field. He throws in tight windows. It's a player that Tomlin is used to. And if anyone could have got the best out of Carson Wentz, it would have been Mike Tomlin.
And let me I'll mention, I know we're defending Mitch Trubisky here, but I love the fact that he went to a place where he knew he was not going to be a starter for 1 year. He went to Buffalo knowing that he was not going to take that position.
Yeah.
And I respect the hell out of that. That's why I respect Jameis Winston for what he did. And you know what? They were shut up. They were quiet. And Mitchell Trubisky's record is actually a winning record under Matt Nagy, man. He's 29-21 with Matt Nagy. And, you know, he never had an interception. He never had more interceptions than he had touchdowns. It's 64 touchdowns to his 38 interceptions. So, I mean, if you're just looking at that statistic on its own, it's really not. It's not terrible compared to maybe some other quarterbacks out there that you could probably name a handful on just, you know, with both of your hands that if you're looking at the statistics that are probably worse. But yeah, I mean, I think, and Jeff, you could probably agree with this, man. I'm a strong believer in also that Daniel Jones and Mitch Trubisky's situations are very, very similar.
I'm glad you brought that up because I agree.
Outside of the fact that Mitch Trubisky did have constant weapons, Daniel Jones is throwing to the dude from McDonald's that he doesn't know, like straight up. But I mean, if to give you any hope of
3 years he's been doing that.
Yeah.
That's his comparable.
Man. Let's look at this real fast. Like, when you look at the Chicago Bears, this roster he has in Pittsburgh is nigh uncomparable. You know, like you said, you have Johnson, you have Claypool. Who was the guy they picked up in the second round?
Pickens.
George
Pickens.
Pickens,
right? They have Pickens, dude. Pickens and Claypool
Alvin
combined
Austin.
are going to be amazing together. And then you just add in Johnson, that's going to be amazing. And then you have Pat Freiermuth, who is going to be a top 5 tight end. Okay, and no lie, he kind of reminds me of Heath Miller a little bit. You know, I know you were trying to compare him a little bit to some people. He really reminds me of Heath Miller from the Steelers.
Absolutely, and the guy that came after him, I forget his name. They all play very similar ball. Block first, put your body on the line. Yeah. Jesse James, and the guy that came after him too. Like, all of them are very similar.
Yep.
Jesse James was probably the best, you know, pass catching one out of all the ones that we've had, but they predicated around let's play team ball. Nobody's bigger than, you know, than one guy here. So
and we can't compare Najee to anyone on that Bears team. I mean, Najee is way better than anyone they got. Like, true. So he's got weapons this year. If he can't make it work in Pittsburgh, I wash my hands.
Offensive line, though, I worry about their offensive line.
I don't, man. Trust me, Tomlin will have that offensive line going, dude. I mean, he turned Villanueva into an All-Pro. He turned who was their center? Pouncey. Pouncey was a monster, dude. Like, all these guys, he always has good weapons, man. They like Dante said, dude, from top to bottom, that organization is A++, dude. They've been doing it for years. They're the only organization that's had 3 head coaches in the last 30 years. That's saying something.
I mean, them and the Ravens, there's a reason why they're always on top competing with each other in the AFC North, man. I mean, let's be honest here. Like, they are two, if you had to name 2 organizations that you would put A1 right now, you have to mention the Steelers and the Ravens. Regardless of how much they hate each other, they are both damn good every single year.
And another thing I want to elaborate on Daniel Jones, it also doesn't help because Duke was so goddamn bad in college. They're a bad football team in college, so that doesn't help him out either. They're so garbage in college, so that's
and the offensive line.
Again, yes, they Duke all over his garbage in football. They all over his garbage. So
Pimper, man, like, I don't want to. I can't say that Mitch is so much better than Dan, man. Like, from the coaching staff to everything outside of the weapons, like, Mitch didn't really have that great of weapons either outside of Allen Robinson, and you know, Daniel had what, OBJ for 1 season, so it's like, dude,
he never
it's
had
very
OBJ.
similar.
He never had him.
He had
you never had him?
Darius Slayton.
Yeah, and then
He had Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard as his number 1 and number 2
Kenny
for a while.
Galladay
And then
is
he got
so
Galladay
over.
and Tony.
Oh, Galladay.
Well,
Don't get me
Dante,
started because I can go on 2-3 hours straight about
Yeah, we're
Daniel
not
Jones
doing
and the
that.
2021 New York Giants. Trust me.
Yeah, we're
It's
not
a train
doing that.
wreck.
But no,
Yeah,
Jeff,
I can
and
go
you were
on for hours.
you even are a witness to this. You know, I've said it. The Giants have only gotten worse since they drafted Daniel Jones. They haven't even come close to making
It's
a
even
step
go back.
forward until this year. You know.
AK, I go a year even further. I'd say they've gotten worse since Saquon Barkley. They've gotten worse since Barkley. And we saw what that guy did in 2018 with a horrendous offensive line and not really a bad defense. Like, bad defense.
Well, and that's kind of my point, man. You know, you can only get so much from somebody if you're not going to help them. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
Now they got Kayvon.
Absolutely, you're right.
They got Kayvon Aziz.
We'll go when we get to the NFC East. Trust me, we'll have a lot to talk about with that division.
Well, let's go now. This is another good one. AFC West: Broncos, Chargers, Raiders.
No. Can we do that last, bro? I
What?
feel like because the East is a little bit more like just pick off, but the West is just so like hard to like just grade off, and then it's like
I think we'll all agree on number 1. I think we'll all agree on who's winning.
All right, fine, Slay. You get your way, you little one.
Told him.
All right, AFC East: Pats, Bills, Dolphins, Jets.
Okay. 1 Buffalo. I don't think that's a question. 2 Dolphins. I think people sleep on Tua. And then like not even sleep on him. I just think they think of him as like a horrible quarterback. I think he can be a reason to why they get to the playoffs this year. And you know, he's not going to elevate the team completely, but he's still a guy that could throw the ball down the field. I hate when people say that he can't throw the ball down the field, because if he wouldn't be in the NFL if he couldn't throw the ball down the field. So give me them 2. Give me the Jets 3 and then the Patriots 4. I'm not high on the Patriots at all, bro. The Patriots defense got worse. You lost your best player on your defense, your best player on your team in general, and J.C. Jackson. And then I like the addition of Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker is a beast. But you lost Shaq Mason, and then I don't really like Matt Patricia at all. And then you got to really rely on him as your offensive coordinator. And I think people give like too much hate on Josh McDaniels. And I like Mac Jones, but Mac Jones is not going to be the complete reason to why the team is elevated. I think it was more Josh McDaniels doing his due diligence. I think that defense got worse. And then you lost Shaq Mason. That's going to hurt you even more. I'm sorry. I'm not high on the Patriots at all. And then I do not trust Matt Patricia calling the plays. That's not going to help you. So I got them 4.
All right, Dante, hit us with it.
All right, so I got the Buffalo Bills at number 1. I think they are still better than the Dolphins. They have the best safety tandem in the National Football League. 10 interceptions between Michael Hyde and Jordan Poyer. I think that's probably the best safety combination in the National Football League. Tre'Davious White comes back. When Tre'Davious White comes back, he's going to be very good. He's going to continue to be that man-to-man shutdown corner. And not to mention, they got another potential corner in Kyrie Elam, too. Kyrie Elam over there, too, man. That secondary, telling you, man, can be nasty right there. With the 2 top, one of the 2, I say Jordan Poyer and you got Michael Hyde, the best safety combination on the field. And then you got a shutdown corner in Tre'Davious White already. Then you add Kyrie Elam, who's already tall and over 6'2", got potential cover skills. That can be solid right there. Defensive line is okay. Even though they did get exposed by the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round game, and probably the divisional round game, they did get exposed a little bit. But Josh Allen continues to step up and be that top tier quarterback that we all known of. I don't think the run game is bad. They were top 5 in every offensive. They were top 10 in every offensive category in the National Football League as far as running. Josh Allen helps that out a lot, but I don't think their running backs is bad. I just don't think they use the running backs enough because the offense is so built around Josh Allen. So built around Josh Allen. You still got one of the best receivers in the game and Stephon Diggs. Adding James,
Gabriel.
the rookie out of Georgia, I think the Bills will be number one. Now I'm going with the Dolphins as the number 2 team. No excuses for Tua. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Mike Gesicki. He's got Jalen Waddle at a great rookie season. Their defense, coming towards the end of the season, was tops in the league. Tua has no excuses this year. He has to get the job done this year. But he did. He was one of the league leaders in passing percentage, though. So
He
he's
was
pretty
great.
accurate. He's pretty accurate as well.
He was great.
I'm stuck in between the Jets, the Patriots. But if I had to choose, I'm going with the Patriots because, I mean, Devontae Parker is another conservative weapon that is an underrated weapon from the Miami Dolphins. Devontae Parker, N'Keal Harry hasn't showed up. Jacoby Myers is some timer. They do got a good running tandem is Samaje Stevenson and Harris, who had 20 total touchdowns last year from the passing game and the running game. Damian Harris had 20 total touchdowns last year. The defense, they lost a lot on the defensive side of the ball. They lost their best corner in J.C. Jackson, but I still think they're a slight better
Best player on
than
their
the
team.
Jets. The only problem I got with the Jets, they got Gary Wilson in the draft. They got Elijah Moore. The only problem, Zach Wilson got to take a little step up. Quentin Williams was good. Quentin Williams had about 10 sacks last year. He's on my top 25 defensive end list as well. He's a beast. So again, I got the Jets number 4. The only question I got is the quarterback, Zach Wilson. You guys take another leap. So that is my lineup.
Respectable.
Nice.
All right, so AFC East at number 4, I'm gonna go with the Jets because first off, they can be a good team this year. I mean, they have Robert Saleh, who's a way better coach than what they had before. He's going to the second year with his team, second year with the quarterback. You got Elijah Moore, who's going to the second year, but it's a lot of second year things, and it's not yet for them. They eventually will be competing, but just not yet. Hey, I love the draft. They drafted Jermaine Johnson and Sauce Gardner to add to that defense, and many others as well. But those are the 2 premier young stars or young hopeful stars that they drafted. So it's a lot of developing they still need to do, and I just think the other teams have a little bit more of win now rosters than what the New York Jets have. But I do think Zach Wilson will play a lot better than a lot of people think this season, and I think I have the Jets. That's why I have the Jets at number 4. It's just mainly because of the youth and the need for development before they fully take over. At number 3, I'm gonna go with the Patriots. Now, I think from 3 to 1 in this division is gonna be very or the 3 and the 2 spot in this division will be very competitive because Bill Belichick can never be counted out. No matter how cliche that sounds in sports, no matter how you guys might have heard it for your whole life, it's true. You can't count out Bill Belichick. Mac Jones had a very okay season. He was a game manager. I expect him to get a little bit better, but he was a game managing quarterback. They added Devontae Parker on that offense to add with Kendrick Bourne, who's a good slot. Um, Also, they have one of the most underrated running backs in the league, in Damian Harris. I mean, the guy just doesn't get talked about, but that's cool. And then they lost J.C. Jackson on the defense, and I think that's what really propels them from being the number 2 spot in the division last year down to the number 3. It's just really the loss of J.C. Jackson, the loss of your anchor in the secondary. That's going to hurt, and you're going to get passed on a lot. And when you're in division with Tyreek Hill, with Stephon Diggs, with Jalen Waddle, you're going to have to need good corners, and they just lost one of their best guys and didn't fully replace him. So I have Patriots at number 3. But they can be competing for number 2 because they have a lot of discipline, and they are still, even without Brady and Gronk, they still have one of the best fundamentally sound teams because of who their coach is and the way he leads his team is based off of fundamentals, and you see that in Mac Jones. So they'll be at number 3. At number 2, and this team could be at number 3, but I will go with the Miami Dolphins. I think this is as far as Tua being living up to that top 5 draft pick hype. This is it for him. He has to show this season that he's a top 5 pick, or else he's gonna get criticized badly, or he's just gonna get removed from the Miami Dolphins. And I think he'll finish number 2 in the division. I think when you add Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, that kind of fits some more what he likes to do. You can dump it off to the some of the running backs they have out of the backfield. Raheem Mostert, who really has speed, so you have a lot of speed where Tua can just throw short passes, and those guys can do things after the catch. I mean, you see what Jalen Waddle last year, he was great at doing things like that. Tyreek Hill, I mean, no matter what part of the field he's on, his speed is going to be valuable. So as long as you get the ball into the hands of these speedsters, Mike Gesicki, as well, I think the dude just needs more respect. I mean, the guy is a great tight end, great up the seams, great outside route, a contested ball catching tight end. This dude is going to be a weapon for Tua as well. And then the defense, I mean, they had one of the more underrated safety tandems and just secondaries in general in the league last season. Um, and with Byron Jones and Xavier Howard coming back and for their cornerback room, it's just going to be great. So I have them at number 2, and then number 1 I have the Bills. I think as far as Super Bowl, this could be the Bills one of their best chances to win it. You got Josh Allen, who had some ups and downs in the playoffs, but this past season really showed that he lives up to the moment. You have Stephon Diggs, who did not show up in the playoffs last year, but still played like a top 5, top 10 wideout last season. Then you got a guy in Gabriel Davis, who I think is going to step up. Did have one playoff game. I am scared that is a little bit fluky, but I think overall he still was a solid receiver before then, and I think he still is going to have some production. My biggest question with the Bills is their running back group, but their passing game is so elite. Is that it's crazy. I mean, through the last 5 weeks of the season last year, they scored or the last like 3 games of the season last year, they scored touchdowns on like 10 straight possessions going into the playoffs. That's how dominant the Bills passing game is. And then their defense, you're going to get Tre'Davious White back, who I believe is a top 5 corner. You have Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, one of the best safety tandems in the NFL. And then you have a building front 7. You got Edmonds up there, Matt Milano, who run a great linebacking core. You drafted Gregory Rousseau, who I think is going to be a great edge rusher in the future. I like the youth in that front 7, and I think they're going to be the number 1 team in the AFC East.
All right, ECG, what you got, buddy?
Well, we're doing the AFC East, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I need to find you guys. Where did I lose my window?
I hope I'm not the only one that said
Right,
Patriots at 4.
No, you're not alone. I had the Patriots at 4.
Let's get it.
All right, so Patriots have a lot of question marks, and I already had a hot take with this being said. And like I said, my mind might change by the time we take care of the AFC East, but I think they're going to be the worst team in football for the first time.
Okay.
And that might shock a ton of people, but I just don't. I think Bill Belichick's magic is running out. I still think he's one of the better coaches when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, but Mac Jones is not Tom Brady. I don't know why they keep bringing back Brian Hoyer. Bailey Zappi was a very good pickup for them. I think Ramondre Stevenson is better than Damian Harris, so I think they have those two flipped. Their best receiver is going to be Devontae Parker, which I know they want to get the ball downfield more and in the end zone, and he's definitely, I did a video on him too, definitely one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL that deserves to get more love. If you compare his stats up against like Devontae Adams and the Cooper Kupps of the world on a career average, he's up there with those guys. Don't know why they picked up Cole Strange. Very disappointed in why they picked him up. Jalen Mills, he's on the worst end of his career right now. Devin McCourty's still a great safety. And then Matthew Judon is the best person on that defense. Outside of that, Hunter Henry can't stay healthy. Jonnu Smith can't stay healthy. Nelson Aguilar can be absolutely trash at any given time. But yeah, I have the Patriots at number 4. Number 3, I'm going to have to go with the Jets at number 3, obviously. If they weren't number 4, they're definitely going to have to be number 3. Not a lot of good things to say about them, man. Will Zach Wilson actually step up to the plate this year and be a good quarterback? He's shown some flashes. I can't automatically go and say that he's complete trash because, the jury's still out. He had some injury issues last year. Joe Flacco was his backup. I think the offensive rookie of the year is actually on that offense this year in Breece Hall. Elijah Moore is underrated. Corey Davis is underrated. Now they picked up Garrett Wilson. They actually have a pretty deep wide receiver room. They picked up C.J. Uzama from the Bengals. Carl Lawson, hopefully he can stay healthy this year. Quinnen Williams, my man Don picked him years ago to be good. C.J. Mosley, the jury's still out about him if he can stay healthy for a season. They have a lot of question marks, man. A lot of question marks. And I don't necessarily think they got better, but they definitely did not get worse than they were last year. Number 2, I definitely have the Dolphins here. I was high on them last year, and I think kind of just that magic that I thought they were going to have just kind of fizzled out, right? So, but this year they have a ton to be excited about. I think Tua is a better quarterback than what people give him credit for, but you bring in Teddy Bridgewater to kind of push him forward. Then they bring in Chase Edmonds, underrated running back. Raheem Mostert, who I think could be, top 3 back in the league if he stays healthy. Dude averages like 5.5 yards a carry in his career. Then they bring in another one and Sony Michel. Then they have Myles Gaskin, who's no joke. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, we know them. They're the best 2 receivers on that team. Everybody else is kind of expendable. Mike Gesicki, can't say enough good things about him. Durham Smythe came from the Jaguars, and he was actually a pretty decent tight end as well. And then you guys hit on to Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. That defense had a down year for what they were projected to be, and I hope they step up to the plate. And that's still their biggest question mark, can those guys gel together? But the way that the Bills were projected to be, a lot of people have them as their number 1 team this year, and there's a reason why. Starts with Josh Allen. You have a great backup in Case Keenum just in case something happens. Picked up James Cook, who's super underrated. Devin Singletary, I've been telling everybody, he had a better late game or late season stretch for a running back out of, a bunch of them out there. Stephon Diggs is good. Gabriel Davis, I expect to step up in a huge way. Jamison Crowder, jury's still out on them. They did pick up Tavon Austin, so I wonder how they're going to use him. Dawson Knox started to step up, and they picked up O.J. Howard as well. I know you talked about Gregory Rousseau, which I wasn't super high on him coming out of Miami. I think he's still a little vanilla, but he showed a lot of talent. I just don't know if he's going to be able to put it together right away. They got Shaq Lawson, Tremaine Edmonds, Tre'Davious White is awesome. They got the best safety duo in the NFL, and Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. And why are we talked about Kyrie Elam a lot. Why is nobody mentioning his name anymore? It's kind of outrageous because he's going to be very, very good. The Buffalo team is stacked to the brim. So this is how I had them stacked up. Patriots 4, Jets 3, Dolphins 2, and Buffalo Bills just by a long shot. I don't, just looking at their schedule for this year, man, I don't know if they actually, outside of that week 1 matchup against the Rams, I don't know if they lose a game this year outside of that.
So I got to ask a real quick question, and anyone can answer this, honestly. I get the hype on the Bill or the Dolphins and stuff, but Mike Mayock, or the head coach, does not scare you?
Mike McDaniels?
Or Mike McDaniels? Yeah, like he doesn't – you don't think that it's going to take a little bit of time? You think it'll just gel together right away instantly?
That Shanahan coaching tree is really good. And now he's a part of that. And what I can tell you right now, AK, just from the perspective of thinking outside the box with this stuff, Mike McDaniel is a very creative coach, and he has a lot of creative players that he can do a lot of different things with this season. And I think that's only to his advantage because if you stack up all those players, one player is not like the other at all. Even that running back room, all of them are so different. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill is not the best route runner, but Jalen Waddle is, and they're completely different. Like
Yeah.
it's a pretty amazing offense for Mike McDaniel to go into, and I know as a head coach he has to be excited that he's going to be able to get creative, but I think
agree.
it's more of an advantage for him.
You got Mike Gesicki. You got Mike Gesicki who can catch any ball that's a 50-50 ball or any ball that comes to him.
Yeah.
When I looked at that catch that he almost made against my Texans, that one-handed catch, I was like, boy, oh boy, that dude is good. Mike Gesicki catch any ball, any jump ball, he catch.
What about Cedric Wilson?
Well, yeah, the Dolphins. You're welcome. Just saying.
Yeah.
Cedric Wilson is underrated.
I'm a Penn State guy. He came from Penn State, so you're welcome.
And he's an underrated blocker as well.
He is.
Yep. Mike McDaniel
absolutely
doesn't
is.
scare me at all. I don't, and I think not only because he's from the Shanahan system, but I mean, when you look at a young offensive-minded head coach, I think the best way for him to offensive-minded coach that's younger for him to succeed, you either gotta have a young and developing offense that you can grow with and that they will let you take time to grow with, or you just gotta have weapons in place where you can just get creative with. And he has that second option or kind of a mixture of both, where he kind of has two with them who they can develop and they can grow with each other, and then he has the weapons where he can really get creative with the weapons we just named, like Tyreek Hill, like Jalen Waddle, and then Gesicki as well. So he has a lot of tools to play around with. I'd actually be surprised if by like week 8 or 9, Mike McDaniels is not acclimated to being that full-time head coach, because, and I don't want to compare situations too much, but when you look at kind of how Nick Sirianni was with this offense, he kind of just had to find what he had and use it correctly. I think Mike McDaniels is going to be able to do something like that, where he's going to have to find and evaluate what he has and then use it to the best of his ability, and it'll work because that offense is built to be great in the future. So
I think personally, McDaniels is just more, and we haven't seen McDaniels coach the actual team, but if we're talking based off of scheme, I think McDaniels is more creative than Nick Sirianni. Me personally.
Oh yeah, no, definitely more creative, but I just think the situation as far as finding what you have well and making use to it, that's what all young coaches go through. So that's what he's gonna have to go through for the first few weeks, but he will find that because he has the talent to do so.
Jock, you are a dirty old man. Welcome back, sir. Appreciate you, man. Been a minute. Hope everything's going good with you and the fam. All right, hit us with it, Jeff. What you got for your AFC, bro? Your East.
Well, I think Mr. Bill Belichick is about to be served a very, very large piece of that humble pie, because I got the Patriots coming in 4th place as well.
I agree.
I think this team just took a whole lot of bad subtractions to their offense and to their defense, losing Shaq Mason on that offensive line. You lose J.C. Jackson at that cornerback spot. I mean, Devin McCourty's still a very solid safety, but that guy's getting up there in years. He's not the same player he was before. I feel bad for Mac Jones. It just seems like a mess right now. Who's calling that offense right now? Is it Joe Judge? We all know what Joe Judge did last year with the Giants and that mess that it was. Matt Patricia, who's a defensive coach by trade, is now going to be potentially calling offense. So I just feel bad for Mac Jones. Devontae Parker, I think, is a very solid receiver, but he gets hurt so much. Guys in the training room more than he is actually on the field. I mean, Aguilar, Eagles fans know about this guy. He's a drop waiting to happen. I like Kendrick Bourne. He's a solid receiver, a nice number 3. I actually am a fan of Jacoby Myers. I think he's a very underrated slot receiver. Just got to get in the end zone a little bit more. I do like Hunter Henry a lot at tight end. I am also a fan of Jonnu Smith too, but I just think that offensive line took a hit. I'm not a big fan of that secondary right now. I just think it's going to be a really rough year for the Patriots. I think Bill Belichick is going to have the roughest year he's had since he was in Cleveland. So I got them coming in 4th. I was actually bouncing around with my number 3 and number 2, but I actually am going to go with a surprise here. I'm going with the Dolphins at number 3. Wow. I think that I like the Dolphins, what they've done this offseason, bringing in a guy like Chase Edmonds, what he's going to bring to that running back room. Cedric Wilson, I think, was a very underrated pickup. He did a very nice job over there with the Cowboys when they were missing some receivers. I mean, Tyreek Hill, we know what this guy is on the offensive side of the ball. Jalen Waddle arguably the best wide receiver, other than Jamar Chase, the best rookie wide receiver that came out this last year. I mean, they did pick up Teron Armstead at left tackle, so that was a big addition for them. Jalen Phillips, nice rookie year at defensive end. They did pick up Melvin Ingram, the veteran pass rusher on the outside. Their secondary is very solid too. I just have questions about Tua. I got to see Tua's it's very similar to a Trubisky. I got to see Tua go out there and actually get it done. I know he's got upside. He's got the playmakers around him. It's all on Tua right now, and I got to see him go out there and do it. And right now, I just don't know. I don't know if I have the faith in Tua because he's also a very injury-prone quarterback too. Tua has a very hard time staying on the field, and you just knock him in just a very awkward way. He could be out for half the season. So that's the one thing that makes me draw back a little bit from Miami taking that next step towards number 2. And I'm actually picking the Jets as my number 2 because I really, really love what this team did in the draft. I think they made some excellent additions in the draft with Garrett Wilson. I think this is the best wide receiver coming out of the draft this past year. I love the Breece Hall addition. I think he was my favorite running back coming out of this draft, and I think he's going to be an excellent 1-2 young running back addition with Michael Carter. I think Elijah Moore, he's got a little bit of that Kadarius Toney type explosion in the slot. I think he's going to have a bounce back second year. I love what they got in the offensive line. Laken Tomlinson, one of the best free agent pickups on the offensive line. I like Elijah Vera-Tucker at the guard position. I think Fant's very solid at the left tackle position. It's all about what you're going to get from Becton on the other side. I mean, Becton's saying he's coming into camp. He's going to be in a lot better shape. He's gotten over his knee injury that he had before. So I got to see what he's going to be like. And I think Zach Wilson is going to take the jump. I also like what they did at tight end. Uzama was a great pickup from Cincinnati. They got picked up Conklin from Minnesota. And don't forget, they picked up Rucker, who's arguably the best tight end prospect in this draft too. You add him there, I think the Jets are going to have a very, very good offense going into the season. And obviously, you're getting back Carl Lawson on the defensive side of the ball. You got Jermaine Johnson now. Quentin Williams is a very solid defensive lineman. You got C.J. Mosley at linebacker. And I think Sauce Gardner was a big addition. You got Whitehead there. So I think the Jets are actually going to be a much improved team. And I think Zach Wilson is going to take that leap because he's got all the talent around him, and I do believe in this kid's skill set. So I think the Jets are going to be that second best team in the AFC East. And I mean, there's no question the Buffalo Bills are the best team in this division. I mean, it's now or never for this team. You got to think after the heartbreak that this team has gone through, especially what they had to go through last year in that amazing game against Kansas City. You don't think Josh Allen, you don't think McDermott, you don't think that Bills team is coming into this season on a mission. Like after what happened to them in Kansas City, they're going to go out there and they're going to just try to smoke the competition and get to the Super Bowl where they believe they belong. I think the Bills, they're going to get Tre'Davious White back in the secondary. I agree with all of what you guys have said. I mean, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, best safety duo. You add Elam at the opposite with Tre'Davious White. Tremaine Evans, tremendous linebacker. I like Rousseau. AJ Espinoza, another good young defensive end prospect. You got Shaq Lawson over there. And I mean, Stephon Diggs, one of the best receivers in football. James Cook. Don't forget, James Cook was added to that running back position. I think that's going to be a big addition to their running back room, along with Singletary. Yep. Dawson Knox, a very underrated tight end. Obviously, O.J. Howard, you add him in there too. I mean, Josh Allen, it just feels like he's ready to become the MVP of the league. Their offensive line is very solid, and I would not be shocked if the Buffalo Bills are representing the AFC in the Super Bowl this year. So I've got Buffalo number 1. I got the Jets number 2. I got the Dolphins number 3, and I got the Patriots number 4.
That's respectable.
I really like that. Yeah. Go ahead, Papa. What you got, buddy? And welcome to the show, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. So apparently it looks like it's going to be the very unpopular one, but I still got Jets in last place. I think I absolutely hear everything everybody is saying. I think they've 100% beefed up everything. Still think there's a lot of people that need to prove themselves. And for Patriots, I'm just going to go through quick skim because wasn't really here throughout the entire time, so I didn't hear everything. Quick skim, Patriots. Belichick's going to Belichick. I think he's going to have a rough year, yes. I don't see how he can end up in 4th place.
Number 2, Miami. Miami's going to rest all on Tua, in my opinion. And then number 1, which I'll actually give detail on this one, obviously Bills. Josh Allen's pissed. Josh Allen's got great talent. You've got Stephon Diggs, top 5 wide receiver. You've got Gabriel Davis, who came onto the seams last year. Great safety duo. Adding Kyrie Lom, who I'm not going to say it was the best, but was one of the best corners. Adding him was a big boost just because of the play talent, his IQ, all of that. I'm sure everybody's seen the clip of him in the pre-draft interview where he brought the playbook. He was like, write down this, studying. So very head in the games. So I think he's going to do great for Buffalo. And yeah, Buffalo, I think, is going to be 1 and probably back in the AFC Championship game.
Gabriel Davis is going to keep going up and up, man. That boy.
I like the Crowder addition, too. I like the Crowder addition. Was very underrated for their offense.
Yeah. So I'm with you guys. I mean, unless Bill Belichick, I don't know how you guys felt about his draft, but unless he knows something we all don't know, I get it. Everyone's talented, and to be even a part of the draft, you got to be good, but just still, So I think the Pats didn't help themselves this offseason very well. I get it. I get it. Pat is probably the best head coach in football history. But Bill Belichick. Yeah, sorry, Pat. I was thinking Pat. Yeah, no, Bill Belichick is probably the greatest coach in football history. I give him that. He has the record to back it up. But listen, this team is far from what it used to be. Far from it. And I just can't do it. So I got them at 4. I'm gonna go with Jeff on this one, man. I think the Dolphins are gonna be 3rd. It's gonna be close, but I say they're gonna be 3rd as well. I don't know much about their head coach. I know, like Dante said, he's smart, but that's a big change for Tua, going from Pat Mahomes to or a big change for Tyreek Hill to go from Pat Mahomes to Tua. You're going from a guy who can throw the ball 80 yards to a guy that can only go like 60. That 20 yards is a big difference, but I get it. He is very accurate as well, and ECG will probably bring that up eventually to defend him because he's done that before. The kid is very accurate. He was, am I right? He was the most accurate quarterback in college, right, Dante?
Yeah, statistically, he was the most accurate quarterback we've ever seen.
Yeah, so
most efficient, not accurate, but the most efficient quarterback we've ever seen.
So I give him his props. I give the Jets too, man, because listen, this team has gotten really good. They really have. They got a lot of young talent, and I get it. It's young talent, but the fact is, it is talent. And Salah, I give a lot of credit for, man. Listen, that when he was the defensive coordinator with the 49ers, he really had that defense on lock, and the energy he brings to his teams. He's a very energetic head coach, and he motivates you. He other than Bill Belichick, he's the only one that hasn't had a coaching change, really. Even the Bills lost the ball a little bit, but that's not going to affect them because they got a lot of great talent around that team. But they have consistency. Salah's coming back. This whole team's coming back. They've upgraded, so I only see them getting better, and I think Wilson does take that second-year leap. Now, how good it is going to be, I don't know, but I still think he can be competitive. And then obviously number 1, the Bills reign. Whoever thought we would even be at this point right now? For how many years the Pats held that league down? But guess what? The Bills are the new Pats, and I don't see them giving it up anytime soon, man. Josh Allen is a beast. So, and getting Cooks in the draft, I think Cooks is going to be good. I think the only thing that held the Bills back the last 2 years was their halfback room, and drafting Cooks literally makes them a Super Bowl threat now. So,
yeah, me personally,
Anything like Dalvin there for a treat.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think Marcus Jones for the Patriots was the best pick for the Patriots. I don't even think it was Cole Strange, their first round pick. I was more high on Marcus Jones than him.
Yo, Weapon X.
Jones
Hey
is
guys,
awesome.
just so you guys know, I don't know if you guys know or not, but Weapon X here, he actually is an Eagle content creator. I just met him today, and really great dude, man. Knows his stuff. If you guys do not know who this guy is, go check out his content. Really good dude, man, and hopefully we can do something and collab here soon, man, because I really like how you talk football, man. So appreciate you.
Yeah. But Marcus Jones,
No
I
doubt
think
about
was the best pick for me personally.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I don't know how you like that take there, ECG. I know you're more of the quarterback guy. I mean, the Pat Mahomes Tua thing, but I just feel the Jets have a little bit more continuity because it's still the same team from last year, and they can build on that. But
Yeah, and arguably they did have a lot of injuries. I mean, losing Carl Lawson before he even played a damn snap was like, and they threw everything in the kitchen sink to get that guy in. Kind of sucked, but yeah, this comment right here. Hell, when Tua is in college was throwing the 4 first-round picks, they helped him out big time. I mean, you can call it what it is, but he's throwing the pro guys. He wasn't throwing the pro guys in college. Those guys still have something to prove when they get drafted. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's an interesting take.
oh well, hopefully I'm right and I don't look stupid.
Yeah.
This
But I
AFC
won't
West
keep
one is gonna be
one,
fun.
will I, Jeff? We'll go down together.
Yeah, I just really love this Jets upside on their offense. I really believe that this Jets offense is going to be a lot better than people think. They have so much young talent on that offense. They could just jet. I mean, it is the Jets, our neighbors, and we've seen what our neighbors in the Meadowlands do. So, but I just think that this team has so much young talent that eventually they're going to – I mean, you figure eventually even the Jets will get it right. And I think this is the time that they actually are going to get it right. And I just think this Jets team is going to be a lot better than people think. Not
They've been shitty for far too long, man. They got to get it right eventually, right? Like,
I mean, they're still talking about Joe Namath as the best player in their history. So,
yeah, that Lincoln Tomlinson move, that was so good for them.
I don't care what you say.
The
The only reason that Joe Namath's in the NFL is because he won Super Bowl III. That's it.
Facts.
Probably.
He was trash.
That is true.
He was hurt all the time. He was hurt all the time.
Be real.
That dude was ass.
If you compare every other quarterback, was Joe Namath really a great talent to where like other people were?
No, it was
He just
his.
won that Super Bowl.
The thing about Joe Namath, it was his persona. He was a pretty boy. He played quarterback, and he played quarterback for the New York Jets, and won a Super Bowl. That was the only reason he's in the Hall of Fame. You can't look at his statistics and be like, "Oh hell yeah, Joe Namath, scared of that guy every single week."
I've said this.
Nobody
for
was
like
saying that.
almost a year that Joe Namath's statistics are the most overrated statistics in the history of the game.
Actually do it.
Like
No,
his
we did.
statistics are terrible.
I think
I'll
the
tell you
AFC
another
West
one.
division is going to be interesting when we pick that
Yeah,
one.
we're getting to that one here in a second.
I know who you're gonna say, Dante. I can already sense the Charger coming out of you.
Oh man, how did you know? Dan Fouts,
Yeah.
bro, that boy was ass too. Damn.
I don't know why I find it funny every time he says it like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna clip that shit. I promise you.
Yes.
You gotta put some steak on it when you say it, bro.
Right? It's like the starting of doing a Christopher Walken impression. Like it's Christopher Walken's.
Bro, I can tell you what, when I went to the Hall of Fame last year and we were looking at people's stats, I'm like, this dude's in the hall. That guy is ass. That's a walking. People are like, what
Security
the
was
hell?
like, sir, please, we're gonna have to ask you to stop.
I'm like, you know what? Watch y'all put his jersey in. That boy is ass.
Dude had Kellen Winslow. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, give him credit. He had like 2 or 3 seasons where he was like the first person to throw for 4,000 yards. That's pretty much why he got in.
Yeah.
The next time I get an
Other than that, he was ass.
That boy was ass.
The next time I get in an argument with somebody about a certain player, and they're like, he was great, I'm just gonna go, nah, that boy was ass.
Just say with Eli Manning. Eli Manning is one of those players that nobody thinks he should be a Hall of Famer because his numbers weren't eye-popping. I'm just saying.
All I'm
That
saying.
boy was ass.
All I'm saying is Eli gonna be one of the worst Hall of Famers of all time. But that's a different discussion.
The thing that gets him in, man,
He's got 2
is the
Super
2 Super Bowls
No,
against
yeah,
the
he
Patriots.
did.
Against
Brady,
times
yeah.
to do it. So
I'm not taking away his
CLUTCH. Clutch.
hey, you know what, man? That is the one
He's
thing the
clutch.
NFC East can brag about right there, man. Is we are the only division to beat Tom Brady. The only one. You did it twice.
Right.
We did it once. So he can't beat us. So we're good. Yeah, no.
The
there
NFC is
is
like, I'm
no
done.
hate. Man, Eli deserves it. No matter what you say, he does, man. I'm an Eagle fan, but even I'm not going to sit here and discredit the man. You know, you go out there and win polls, hey, is what it is.
I'm just in the boat, and me and Jeff are going back and forth about this, but I think Eli will get in a couple ballots down the road. But if Eli's
No,
getting
it's
in,
not
you
a
got to
sure
let Philip.
ballot.
Yeah, it's like Eli Manning had 2 feats against the GOAT, and then one of them was against a 16-0 team. That pushes you right in. But if you get in, you got to look at Phillip Rivers' stats too. Phillip
I
should
put
get
Rivers
in
in.
because of the
Oh,
stats.
let's not start this
all 3
argument.
in. All 3 are going in for me.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that.
I put
Absolutely.
Roethlisberger, I put Rivers, and I put Manning in. I think all 3 of them are surefire Hall of Famers. Not first ballot. I think Roethlisberger is the closest one, but I would say that Manning, Roethlisberger, and Rivers are all Hall of Famers. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah, I think Ben is first ballot. I think Eli's like 3rd ballot, and I think Rivers is like 5th ballot. I think.
Listen, man. The only reason I'm tough on Rivers is because the dude should have won. And for him not to win, man, I really feel he underachieved, and truly. Like, I know he probably didn't always have the greatest weapons in the world, but he had weapons at times.
Rivers had great playmakers on his team.
Yeah, Rivers
always.
had good weapons.
Listen, I'm being nice to him, okay? Because, like I said, I truly believe he just underwhelmed there. Like, he should have won, and he never did, and I hold him to that. I hold McNabb to that.
Do you hold Dan Marino to that? Do you hold Dan Marino to that standards as well?
Dan Marino?
I'm just asking. I'm not saying
no. Dan Marino, bro, literally had nothing, and he made it work.
All I'm saying
is Dan Marino is a whole different. That is a great quarterback on a shitty team.
Yeah.
Based off of scheme, too, I don't think. Based off of scheme, I don't know if Rivers wins a championship with the Giants, to be honest.
And not to defend Eli Manning completely, I'm not just trying to be a Homer Giant fan, but look at some of those teams Eli Manning was stuck with at the end of his career. I mean, he had nothing on those teams. Trash defense, bad coaching, no draft picks.
The offensive line was shit, too.
Our offensive line has been garbage since we were in the Super Bowl. Our wide receivers are like a revolving door. You wait to see which one gets injured, and then another one goes in. Then you wait till he gets injured. That's what pretty much Eli Manning had to deal with. And he still, in 2015, was arguably put up some of the best stats of his career. With Reuben Randall and Preston Parker and Rashad and Jennings as his playmakers other than OBJ. His offensive line, we were stuck with Eric Flowers, Bobby Hart, John Jerry. I mean, Justin Pugh, Weston Richburg. We're not talking about, like, well-known names.
There he
goes. To deal with.
There he goes.
Trash.
Listen.
But I think Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer.
I agree
Hold
with
on,
what
AK.
Rousseau here real fast, man. We are way too lenient on who we let into the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. You know, to be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, you have to really do some amazing shit. That's what the Hall of Fame's about, right?
TO.
And I truly think we are way too lenient on that. There's some,
And
like,
you know
you
what?
know, Namath should not be in there, but he is because he won that Super Bowl. But like we said, there's some players in there that probably shouldn't be in there.
That
T.O.
boy
is
And I
Jerome
one of the
Bettis
respect
greatest
should not be
Rivers.
in the Hall of
football players,
Fame.
nothing. T.O. is
I
one of the
respect
greatest football
Rivers
players
because
ever.
Rivers, remember, in the AFC Championship game against the Patriots, he was playing on a partially torn ACL. Philip Rivers was playing on a partially torn ACL while in that Patriots game in the AFC Championship. So,
Damn, Aiden.
Well, Aiden, no. Both Dantes are not NFC East fan. One of them is a
Yeah.
Jags fan. The other one's a Texans fan.
It just won't
Yo,
go down.
chill, Aiden. I know you a Bears fan, but
And you're a
chill.
Bears fan. You haven't beat the Eagles.
Bro,
since
you're a
when?
Bears fan? We've had more success than the Bears. Damn, sit your ass down.
that's saying something,
The
yeah.
Bears have been
Yeah.
ass.
I was about to say.
The Bears haven't
As much
beaten the
success
Eagles
as the
since-
Jets.
The Bears haven't beaten the
Facts.
Eagles
Someone
in
need to
12
clip
years.
that and
Y'all
send
have,
it to me so I can make that my ringtone.
Chicago hasn't beaten us in 12 years. Since 2010.
Shit, they're like the Jets, basically.
Damn,
with us.
that's
What's
an
funny
ass
is
stat
they
right
owned
there.
us. They owned us in like the 80s, and now we're taking it over. We're owning them now.
All right, we're at AFC West, right?
Yeah. This
Yeah,
I'm interested to
West
see how this
now.
list goes.
Yes,
This is
we are
gonna
on
be
the
fun.
AFC West.
All right. I'm gonna say one Chargers. I love the Chargers. Justin Herbert is right now he's a top 5 quarterback.
Give me a reason why, Aiden. Seriously, I want to know what we
Um,
did to you so wrong. Like,
I don't care if he
Alright,
hits the
one
Giants.
Chargers. They got J.C. Jackson, Khalil Mack, and then you. Bro, why does no one talk about Tillery? And then I would say 2 would be the Raiders. You get Devontae Adams, probably the best receiver in the league. Chandler Jones. And then with 3, I'm gonna say the Broncos. To be honest, it's so back and forth between the Broncos and the Chiefs. I could see the Chiefs being 3 and the Broncos being 3, or Broncos being 4 and then the Chiefs being 3. But I'm gonna stick to the Broncos being 4 or 3. But you got Russell Wilson. Their defense, you got Patrick Surtain. And then you got guys like Kareem Jackson, Bradley Chubb. They got pieces there, bro. And then I'm never gonna sleep out on what the Chiefs got. I like what they got. Patrick Mahomes, Sky Moore, who's gonna take Tyreek Hill's job. He has some of the skill sets that Hill has in terms of speed, and then you got the catch radius. And I'm not comparing the two. It's just that the skill sets are there with those two. And then their defense got a little bit better with the Justin Reed pickup. So, and Trent McDuffie, of course, and George Karlaftis. So we'll see with them, man.
Dante.
All right, so number 1, I got the Raiders. They got the best receiver in football. They got his best friend, Derek Carr. Hunter Winthrow, third in Winthrow, was on my top 25 list at number 16. And plus, Devontae Adams was number 1 on the list that I got, that I had. Also, added Chandler Jones, who's on the list as well, my defensive end. It's on the list of my defensive end, Chandler Jones. Matt Crosby as well, man. You got 2 studs on the defensive side of the ball. You got an underrated guy in Bilal Nichols at the defensive tackle position. You got a linebacker that is pretty good. I forgot that dude name that played for the Raiders.
Don't they have Darius Phylon?
Denzel
No,
Perriman?
not him.
Darius
Not him.
Phylon. Did they
The
get
other
rid of Darius Phylon?
The other one, I don't know if they got rid of him, but the other linebacker, Denzel Perriman was their leading tackler.
Nick
The other
Kwiatkowski.
linebacker, wow. Not him. It'll come to me. But
Yeah, but I remember Darius Phylon was a beast in that Chargers game. Yo, he was wrecking havoc in the middle. He was a
I got
beast.
the Raiders number 1. Darren Waller can somehow
You talking about Diablo? Devin
stay.
Diablo.
Diablo.
That's
Devin
what I'm talking
Diablo,
about.
yeah.
Yeah, Diablo is
Dude,
pretty
he
solid.
terrorizes me in Madden. I ain't even gonna
Yeah,
lie.
Diablo is pretty
Bro, he's
solid
got
as
such a
well.
cool name. I just wanted to
Right?
draft him just because of the name.
Hey, Eric joins when we're talking about his team, man. That's crazy.
And
All right, everybody put Raiders in last place just
Josh
to piss him off.
Jacobs, I believe the end is coming to an end for Josh Jacobs.
take
Zamir
him.
White, it'll be a matter of time for Zamir White being taken over for the Las Vegas
Dude,
Raiders.
Josh Jacobs is such a volume running back. He would
Yeah.
be trash without getting as many carries as he gets.
He was what? Repeat it again. He was what?
Trash. Oh, he was ass. No, I can't say his ass because he got the stats.
Zamir White is taking
Not
his
yet.
spot sooner or later. I believe he's gonna take his spot sooner or later. He can't stay healthy. But yeah, I got the Raiders. And number 2, I got the Chargers. I got the Chargers at number 2. Josh Allen, a 5,000 yard quarterback, 5,000 yards. It's just the only problem that guy. I know they boasted up that defense with Khalil Mack and with J.C. Jackson, but can Khalil Mack stay healthy for a whole season? I believe he's gonna stay healthy because you got Joey Bosa, you got Bosa on the other side, you got Bosa on the other side. You also got Santi Samuel Jr., Derwin James, and you just added J.C. Jackson. Boasted up that secondary is gonna help a lot. But the problem is they lose the games they don't supposed to lose, and they always find a way to fold in the middle of the season. So that's why the reason why I got them at number 2. The weapons are good.
See.
Herbert is going to be really, really good. This is going to be good too. They also got Austin. They also got, I believe, Austin Johnson from the Giants that the Giants had. They got him at the D tackle position as well. Number 3, I got the Broncos. The defense, Russell Wilson. I got the Broncos. And number 4, I got the Chiefs with a winning record and a 9-8. Everybody in the AFC West has a winning record this year. Has a winning record. Everybody
So we
in the AFC West
basically
have-
agree. It's just that we
have a
got
record.
different opinions on the Raiders and Chargers.
Yep. All right, Nas.
AFC West. All right, let's get it. At number 4, I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos. Now, while I do think this will be a very competitive division, and they can still have 9 wins, being the number 4 team in the division, I think they have the least amount of cohesiveness, the least amount of chemistry, because they are the only team in this division who is bringing in a new quarterback. So you have new leadership in the locker room. You have a new head coach. So it's just you're gonna have the least amount of chemistry here. I do like Cortland Sutton. I just wish he could stay a little bit more healthy and get a little bit more targets, which he should this year under Russell Wilson. Jerry Jeudy, who was looked to be a breakout receiver last year, ended up getting hurt. He'll come back this year being okay. But I think that my favorite part about this Broncos team is their running back core and their defense. And I want to talk about their running back core for a second. I mean, Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon both had the same exact carries and basically the same exact yards. Both are 900-yard running backs on around 200 carries per season. When you have 2 guys who can come in and just feed off of each other and both have the same efficient rushing like they did last season, I think it could be really good for them. And their defense is very, very good. They have a very
I like
consistent
I
defense.
want to say something, Nas, right quick. I like the way you mentioned their running back core. They both had 900 yards. I got them in my top 25. Melvin Gordon and
AJ
Williams.
Hamler. AJ Hamler is gonna take a big leap up this year, bro.
100%.
I cannot wait to watch KJ Hamler next year.
Yep. And then just lastly about the Broncos, I think their defense, like I said, it's just they always have a consistently solid defense. I mean, I think they have one of the better safeties, if not probably a top 5 safety in my opinion. And Justin Simmons back there in the secondary. You got Patrick Surtain II, who was really impressive last year, was playing like a number 1 corner as a rookie, and which corners, when they come into a rookie year, tend to struggle. He showed that narrative doesn't fit on himself. And I just think this team, they're going to take a little bit to get going, but I do think they can get 9 wins. But this division is so talented that it's going to be at a number 4. It's going to be at number 4 in the division. At number 3, I think that this is very interchangeable. Like, I'm talking about interchangeable where from 3 to 1, it could be a 1-game difference. Mm-hmm. I am going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs at number 3. And man, this is close. This is a tough decision. but they are the only team in this division to lose a star and not really gain one back. Um, and Patrick Mahomes is still him. He's still a top two, probably the best quarterback in the NFL. Tyreek Hill, or not Tyreek Hill, I'm sorry, Travis Kelce can still be a top three tight end in the league, but I question their run game and the consistency of that. Juju Smith-Schuster, I question the consistency of him. And I'm not even talking about that TikTok stuff because honestly, I don't think that's as big a distraction as everyone makes it out to be. I just think him consistently, it's just his consistency has to be in question. So when you look at that, they added Sky Moore. I guess he's going to try to fill a little bit of what Tyreek Hill used to do, but you just can't teach what Tyreek Hill was able to do with his speed and athleticism. That won't be enough. And then their defense, they lost. Now, Tyrann Mathieu wasn't the best safety last year like he was maybe 2 years ago, but he still was one of the best defensive leaders in the NFL. And when he was on the field, they were actually a productive defense. When he was off the field last season due to injury, they were terrible. They were the worst defense in the NFL, and they are going to be one of the lower defense in the NFL in the league. And then at number two, I'm going to go with the Raiders. They added Devontae Adams. I mean, I think he's the best receiver in football currently. If not, he's at least top three. And Hunter Renfrow, he stepped up last year, and he won't even have to be the top guy anymore because you got Devontae Adams. He'll be the number two. Now, I do agree, Josh Jacobs is a little overrated, but have him at number two. Have them at number two. And I think they have already. It's the number one. I have the Chargers. I think their talent is just undeniable. I think Keenan Allen, as he's taken a slight step down, he's still one of the more polished route runners we have in this league. Along with Mike Williams, when he's healthy, he can catch any football. It doesn't matter. You can throw two guys on him, and he's going to come down with the football. He's an underrated downfield receiver. People don't talk about how great he is of making plays down the field. I mean, people know he's a big target, but a lot of those plays aren't just red zone like a lot of 50-50 guys. He actually goes down the field. I do question his ability to create separation, though, but he makes up with it with his leaping ability. And I think their defense is scary. I mean, Derwin James, I have him as my number one safety in the NFL. I think with Khalil Mack, as he is not Raiders or Bears version of himself, he is still going to be productive because you have Joey Bosa on the other side, who's going to take away a lot of the double teams he faced throughout his career. They did lose Kazir White, but I think the pass rush in the secondary will be enough to kind of cover that hole that they might have at the linebacker position this year. I think the Chargers, this is their time, and Justin Herbert might be my league MVP when I come around to making that prediction.
I agree.
So that's my prediction.
Beautiful, man. I love it. Go ahead, ECG.
All right, man. We got a lot of teams, and this is the other tough division to choose here. There was a lot of movement, as you guys know, in the off season. I don't need to go through, all that stuff, but let's just go ahead and get started with my number 4. I agree with you. I think the Broncos are the number 4 team here. And it's not their fault. No, to be completely honest. I think any other year you could say that, the Broncos could be in that 2 or 3 spot. I don't necessarily think they're number 1 quite yet. Love Russell Wilson. Been a Russell Wilson fan ever since he was in college at NC State. Went to Wisconsin, went to the Seahawks. Now he's there with the Broncos. I'll still be rooting for him. I'll still be rooting for his success. But, from what he had in Pete Carroll going to Josh McDaniels, I don't know if it's going to be either an upgrade or it's going to be a regression. He does have a great running back tandem, and the defense is still the biggest question mark for me, and I don't think they're going to be able to hold up with the firepower that's coming down the pike. From these other teams. Like, to be completely honest with you, all these other teams have better wide receivers, better offensive linemen, better outside of running back. Everybody has a pretty good running back as well. So they're gonna struggle. They're gonna struggle hard, and it's just unfortunate that they could be a number 2 or number 1 team in a lot of other divisions. This is just not the division to make that leap. The number 3 team that I have is the Raiders, man. This one hurt as well because I'm such a big fan of Derek Carr. Everybody knows I have him as my number 4 quarterback on my list.
There you go, ECG.
My biggest
just to go, what?
probably one of my favorite players in the NFL next to George Kittle is Devontae Adams, man. Love that guy. I think he's, I'm a Jalen Ramsey fan through and through. Loved him at Florida State. Loved him with the Jaguars. He went to two of my favorite teams. Love that he's having success with the Rams. But I can say one thing. Devontae Adams did not put up the yardage 2 years ago against them, but he damn sure made Jalen Ramsey look silly on every single time that he ran a route. It was absolutely ridiculous. He was like 5 yards out from where Jalen Ramsey was supposed to be on every single snap. With that being said, I'm still questioning the defense a little bit. I know they get Max Crosby and Chandler Jones, which I think they're going to make their own noise. But again, if I'm matching up what their defenses have to deal with, the two firepower and coaching that they have to deal with these other two teams, I don't think they're going to get completely crapped on. But I could see them peaking at like 2-4 a week, and then this other team could squeak in there. And I think the 2 and 3 battle is going to be between them and the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, this one hurt. This one hurt me too. But after a long deliberation, the team is very vanilla right now. Sky Moore's new. George Karlaftis is new. Trent McDuffie's new. Their defense was literally the worst part of their team last year. Their secondary outside of Tyrann Mathieu. And their front seven struggled as well. And my biggest question mark that they still have is at the running back position. I don't think you can win in this division without a decent running back. Patrick Mahomes is going to Patrick Mahomes. But one thing that I can say, I think Mecole Hardman, I think people are down looking this guy so much for whatever reason. I think he's going to be the most important receiver on that team, and I think he takes a big leap this year. And I think that he was an important piece of why, and a lot of people were saying, I think he was an important piece of why they were okay with getting rid of Tyreek Hill. Because people forget how fast Mecole Hardman is, too. He's seriously fast. They're going to have him and Sky Moore, and then you stack on that. I know people like to say what they want about what's his name, Juju Smith-Schuster coming over, but like he's a good number 2. He's never been a great number 1, but he's a fantastic number 2. And then you bring in Valdez-Scantling too. Like they're just reloaded, man. And Andy Reid is a wonderful coach, man. No, I cannot say one thing bad, and I don't think anybody here can say one thing bad about Andy Reid. He's well respected, but his clock management skills are one thing to question every single year. Now, number 1 team, as of right now, I've picked two teams to be in the Super Bowl this year. I think AFC goes to the Chargers, and I think the NFC goes to the Vikings. The reason why I do not know a weak spot.
Oh my God.
I don't know a weak spot on this offense whatsoever. I don't know a weak spot on their defense whatsoever. Losing Kaiser White sucked, but it doesn't matter, man. Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen is not done yet. Offensive line is fantastic. Rashawn Slater, people were talking crap about that guy, but Rashawn Slater is one of the best tackles in the league, man. He was like one of the only people in college that made Chase Young look absolutely silly when he was at Ohio State. Then you go to the defense. Joey Bosa, wonderful. Khalil Mack, wonderful. Derwin James, wonderful.
Kenneth Murray.
Asante Samuel, wonderful. Like, J.C. Jackson was the best. I'm sorry to say, man. J.C. Jackson was the best free agency pickup as far as scheme fit and going to a team that's already stacked. J.C. Jackson is going to probably beat the interception record this year that Trayvon Diggs put it up last year. J.C. Jackson is going to be a way better version than Trayvon Diggs in this offense or in this defense. I don't see one weak spot with them, man. I understand they had that playoff blunder last year with a first-year coach. I think they're going to learn from their mistakes, and this team is hungry to win right now. This is one of those teams that you match up and you go right across from, and they just punch you in the mouth every single game. They're not going to let you walk out without a fight. And guaranteed, every single time a team plays this Chargers team, they're going to be regretting their life the next week on the other team that they're going to have to play because it's going to be totally different. There's, like I said, there's not a weak spot here for them, man, and I think they're going to be consistently good. But I do think the most important opening to their success next year is if Justin Herbert can just continuously play at the high level that he's been playing. If he sucks, this team is going to suck. Like, they could go from number 1 to number 4 quickly and in a hurry. But this is my 4 through 1, man.
That's a good list, man.
That's woo.
An interesting list.
You piqued my interest with the Viking thing, and I know you got Weapon X down there too with it. Because wow, okay, I definitely
He's
will
a
want you.
believer. He believes in Kurt.
I love it.
He believes in Kurt.
Hey,
I definitely want you to explain that one later. But yeah, Jeff, go ahead with your AFC West, man.
Well, I guess me and Coach Dante might have a little. We might be seeing the same minds because my list is actually.
Oh wait,
very
no.
similar to his. I got the Kansas City Chiefs as well, finishing in last place. I just think that the other teams improved so much in terms of offseason acquisitions and not only in trades and free agency as well as the draft, that I just think the Chiefs are going to take a step back this year. And it's not just because they're not going to be a good team. I really just think the other teams improved a lot over them. I like Mecole Hardman. I agree with what you said, Dante. I think he's being very underrated. I think he's going to slot in as that one wide receiver 1. I do like Sky Moore. I think Marcus Valdez-Scantling, him and Patrick Mahomes seem to have developed some type of little chemistry going on in OTAs and minicamp. Juju Smith-Schuster is a good number 2. And one of the guys I'm rooting for the most in terms of a player, just in general, Justin Ross. Remember that name from Clemson. That guy was incredibly talented before he had to unfortunately undergo the surgery to, I believe, his back, which set him back. But this guy was going to be that next great Clemson wide receiver coming out of college. So I'm rooting a lot for this guy. I agree with the running back position. They did pick up Ronald Jones. So, I mean, he's going to be that solid veteran back. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire has a lot of trouble staying healthy. He's been injured a lot. Their offensive line, it took a lot of time to gel during the beginning of the season. I mean, Orlando Brown is solid. I love Creed Humphrey at center. I like Trey Smith at right guard. I like Thuney as well at left guard. But their defense, I'm worried about their defense. I think losing Charchandrick Ward and also losing the Honey Badger, I think that's a big blow to their secondary. I know they picked up Justin Reed and they're counting on Trent McDuffie in the secondary, but I think the loss of that leadership in the secondary with losing the Honey Badger is going to have a big impact on that team. I'm not a really big fan of the linebacking core. I think it's maybe one of the weaker points of that team. And I think one of the biggest blunders they made was not playing Chris Jones at defensive tackle. This guy is a dominant, one of the best defensive tackles in football. They played him too much at defensive end at the beginning of the season, and he just was not the same player. Second, they put him back at defensive tackle. He was back to being the player he's been for the past couple of years. I think Karlaftis is a good addition to that defense, but I just think that I think the Chiefs are going to finish in 4th. Number 3, I got the Broncos. I think the Broncos are going to finish in 3rd place. I love Surtain a lot in the secondary. I think he's going to be one of the best cornerbacks coming into this league. I think he's going to take a big jump in his second year. I like Simmons in the secondary. I mean, Chubb's had a little bit of injury issues on the defensive line, but I think he's still a very solid player. And on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, Russell Wilson was a major acquisition for this team, a big-time acquisition. But what is Russell Wilson right now? Because he's also getting up there in age, and we don't know maybe the pounding he's been taking a lot in Seattle because of a poor offensive line and because of the fact he's had to run the ball a little bit more. Maybe Russell Wilson could be in that beginning of that regression period. Cortland Sutton, injury-prone wide receiver, very talented, but he's had a lot of injury issues. KJ Hamler, I heard what you say, Slay. You think he's going to have a big bounce-back season? He's also coming off a torn ACL. Might take him a little bit of time before he gets back into his playing shape. I like Jerry Jeudy. I think he's underperformed a little bit. I actually thought he was going to be the best of these Alabama quartet coming out of college. And right now he's probably behind Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle. I mean, I also like I think Tim Patrick is one of the most underrated players in the league at wide receiver. This guy just goes out there and makes plays. He was arguably their number one wide receiver. He was arguably their number one wide receiver on Denver last year. He deserved the contract he got. He's very solid, and I agree with the running backs. With Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, very solid overall. But I can't put them ahead of what the two teams ahead of them did. Number 2, I'm actually going with the Los Angeles Superchargers. I think they're going to be the number 2 team because I
That don't mean
this is
for
coming
me,
from a job.
they're not going to make the playoffs though. That don't mean
What?
for me they're not gonna,
Oh,
I said that don't mean
The Chargers?
they won't make the playoffs. I got them in the
Much
wild
faith in
card.
the Chargers.
Clay. I got them in the wild card.
Okay.
Calm down.
You
I
got
got them in the
but
But
playoffs.
that's still the playoffs, though. You
I
can't.
got them in the playoffs.
That's what he
Come on
said. He said they're going to be
Literally
second if they make the playoffs.
He's
That's
got
what
them
he
in the
said.
playoffs. The
now. I got them in the
playoffs.
playoffs. You act like I got them out. I got them in
Clean
the
the
wild card.
wax out your
Wait,
ears, boy.
Wait, Coach Dante, where do you have him again? Where do you have him again?
I have them second. I have them in the wild card.
No,
I have
what was
the
that
Chargers
other
in the
thing that you
wild
just said? Yeah,
What?
Second.
was that other word that you said? You have him in the what?
That don't mean I don't have them in
Playoffs?
the playoffs. I have them there. I have them there in the playoffs. But that's a wild card squad.
You want to talk
I had
about
them
the
as a wild card
playoffs?
Playoffs?
Playoffs. You want to talk about
But
playoffs with the Chokers?
I just think the Chargers made some big time
wax out
acquisitions
your
too
ears,
to
Jay.
this team. I love Rashawn Slater. I think he came into this
like
league
Slater,
much like a Marcus Parson, and Slater is already established himself as one of the better left tackles in this NFL league. And they just picked up Zion Johnson, who's one of the better guard prospects, and you put him on that offensive line. Another tremendous addition to help out Herbert. I think Herbert. I actually think Herbert. Corey Lindsey's a very good at center, and I think Herbert is going to be in the discussion for MVP this year. I love Keenan Allen. Guy had to battle a ton of injuries at the beginning of his career, but he's made himself into one of the best possession receivers in the NFL for the past few years. Mike Williams, I thought was a good addition, bringing him back, and I like Josh Palmer. I think Josh Palmer is going to be an awesome addition as the number 3 wide receiver. He showed something a few times last year. I think he's going to be a good addition at number 3 wide receiver. I even like Guyton as well, and I mean their defense. You have Khalil Mack and you have Joey Bosa at defensive end. Enough said. Those two are going to create a lot of havoc. Austin Johnson, former New York Giants, solid. He's a solid defensive lineman you put in there. I mean, you got J.C. Jackson at cornerback. You got Derwin James, when this guy's healthy, arguably a top 3 safety in the NFL. I just think that the Chargers, they're going to be a playoff team, but I'm going to go with the Raiders. The Raiders as the number 1 team in the AFC West. I love what this team did in the offseason. Chandler Jones, I think, was a major addition to that defense. Devontae Adams, I think, was a major addition to that offense. I love that people sleep on Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is a much better quarterback than people give him credit. I think the offensive line will be better. Hunter Renfrow, I think Hunter Renfrow is one of the best slot receivers, and he deserved to get paid. Darren Waller, when he's healthy, top tight end. I mean, I do still a fan of Josh Jacobs at running back. They also added Demarcus Robinson as the number 3 wide receiver. He can get it done. He's got that championship pedigree, being on the Chiefs when they won it all. And I mean, also on defense, I like Perriman. I think getting Abrams back in the secondary is going to help. I just think overall, and I think Josh McDaniels, this guy has a really solid offensive mind. And I think he's going to bring some new creative offensive concepts that's going to help get the most out of Derek Carr. And Derek Carr is going to have his best season of his career. So that's why I'm going with the Raiders, number 1. I'm going with the Chargers, number 2. I got the Broncos, number 3. And I'm sorry, Kansas City, you're finishing in last this year. Andy Reid, I may respect you.
Don't the Raiders have Farrow too, the tight end? Isn't he on your team, or is that somebody else?
You talking about Monroe?
Austin Moreau?
They have a Foster Monroe. Yeah, he's their backup tight end.
You talking about
Okay. Farrow's in the Rams. That's right.
Farrell Cooper?
Are you talking about Farrell Cooper?
We're tight end. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No, he was on the Giants. Farrell Cooper was a Giant.
Yeah, he's on the Giants. Yeah, he right.
No, there's a tight end. Never mind. Anyway.
No, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, Farrell.
Go ahead, man. This is what you came in for. Time to strut your shit.
We have Biletnikoff jersey in the back.
Look. I'm gonna start off with number 4, okay? Number 4, in my opinion, is the Denver Broncos. I think I said this when Russell Wilson went to the Broncos. This is not me hating, but if you really look at it, he came into a situation with still a suspect offensive line and a worse wide receiver core than what he had in Seattle. Not only did he lose a good weapon in Noah Fant in the trade, but I think they give up quite a lot for Russell Wilson, even though Russell Wilson is a great quarterback, and I think will be, just because of what his accolades and his stats, he will become a Hall of Famer most likely, the way the Hall of Fame goes. But at the end of the day, I don't have confidence in that. I have more confidence in their defense. Their defense has a lot of young talent. They got Randy Gregory from the Cowboys. I like a lot of that addition right there. I think their defense is going to be just fine. It's going to be pretty good, and it's probably going to be better than last year. And that means something because they were already good last year. But their offense, yeah, Russell Wilson makes the team better. Quarterback makes the team better, but their wide receiver core is worse than what they had in Seattle. Like I said, their running back room is pretty damn good. But that offensive line is still suspect for me personally. And I'm on number 4. I got Kansas City, and the reason why I got Kansas City at 3, yeah, Kansas City at 3, is because they got a lot worse. Compared to the other two. How do I say this? Compared to the other 3 teams in the AFC West, the Chiefs got worse compared to the other 3. But I'm still not going to count out Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a heck of a head coach. The guy's one of the best head coaches in recent time. And you got to give the man his flowers. But when you really look at talent acquisitions and subtractions, they subtracted while the rest added. And their rookie class, I like the rookie class. I was big on George Karlaftis. The guy reminds me of Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati. And I like everything about him. But their number 1 corner right now, technically, is Trent McDuffie. And if you put Trent McDuffie comparison to a Mike Williams or a Keenan Allen or a Devontae Adams or Renfro, he's gonna get cooked regardless. He's under 6 foot. The guy did do good in Washington. I'll give him that because I did look at the Pac-12 a lot because I'm a USC fan. But his height is gonna cost him a lot against these guys that are bigger than him. And then as far as number 2 and 1 is the Chargers at 2. And the reason why I have the Chokers, Chargers.
Wait. Were you talking about Trent McDuffie?
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta talk after this show.
That's me and Dante's guy right there. McDuffie.
Trent McDuffie is a good corner. I give him the flowers, but when you really look at it, what competition he's gonna go against, I don't think he's gonna lock down any, in my opinion. And maybe he'll lock down 1 or 2, maybe 1 game or 2, but he won't lock down every single game, in my opinion. That's just what I base it on, because I have McDuffie as a top 5 corner still in the draft, but still, regardless, he's going to get a lot of top end talent.
Dante's getting the clip.
So now let me throw some shots at these chokers, because so many people have so much confidence in the team that consistently, regardless of coaching staff, has consistently had a better roster than most of these AFC West teams and still can't make the playoffs. And I get it. It's a 1-year head coach, a 1-year head coach, whatever. But at the end of the day, the guys had all the talent in the world, and they were pretty much healthy, except for Eckler. And Coach Dante remembers the games against the Texans. Without Eckler, they did not look the same at all. They look completely different. And actually, believe it or not, our Raiders defense was ranked 24th last season. And against us in the first game that the Chargers beat us, their wide receiver core had under 100 yards, and that's combination between all the wide receivers. So they didn't really do much against our corners, and our corners had a lot of turmoil. If you really look at it last season with Damon Arnett situation, Gruden's emails, and Ruggs situation, those all took a toll on this team, and this team still made it happen. Besides that, I got the Raiders at number 1, and that's not me being biased. I just think that this, it could go any route. This AFC West, not being biased, is arguably the best division in the NFL, the AFC West. And I think they're all going to be above 500 teams, and they have a possibility at 3 out of the 4 teams will make the playoffs. But I think if there's a year that the Raiders should take advantage of, is this year. You got everything. You got Derek Carr's best friend. Like I said, Derek Carr has been underrated. People have him out of the top 10 a lot. So for people in this panel to respect Derek Carr, that's a surprise to me of how much hatred I see towards Derek Carr. And then the defense got better with Chandler Jones. Believe it or not, Yannick Ngakoue wasn't the best at the run, and Chandler Jones could do both at the run and the sacks. And, both guys could produce. And I like Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. I think Chandler Jones and Max Crosby got something to say about being the best pass rushing duo in the AFC West. And yeah, we could put Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack in that conversation. Of course you can. But at the same time, Khalil Mack is coming off of a year that hasn't been fully healthy. He played 7 games last season, and the guy's starting to age. Yeah, he's going to mean business against the Raiders because that's his old team. But I think that team has a lot of injury concerns. And as far as coaching staff, we do have technically a second year coach because he was a part of the Denver Broncos in the 2000s, but he did take accountability for screwing up that job, with Tim Tebow and them. He came into the Raiders, said that I learned from the Broncos, I learned from my past, and I'm here to settle. And he's been proving it with not only the acquisitions, but the things I've been hearing from OTAs, the press conferences. The guy means business, and the guy's coming here to win and building a winning foundation. So, in my opinion, I think we have the best overall as far as offensive lineman coach, because Carmen Brasil is the top 10 offensive line coach. Defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham. Shout out to the Giants for giving him up, and so on and so on. And I think we have one of the best coaching staffs in the AFC West. We have one of the best coaching staffs in the AFC West overall. But if you were to say head coach, you got to give it to Andy Reid. But
Mac Jones
besides that,
I think
I think this is a team that needs to take advantage of this year for the Raiders, and the Raiders will take advantage. I believe so. We got winning coaches. That's not something we've had before. Even with Gruden, Gruden did win with the Buccaneers, but let's be honest, I still think it's Tony Dungy's team. So
I'll never forgive McDaniels. Never forgive that bastard.
Hey, bro, Mac Jones' number's gonna go down, bro.
He ruined
it. Well, I got to say this, man. All right. See you later, ECG. Appreciate it, but I gotta say this. I have backed you this whole off season with everything you guys have done. A lot of people don't give Derek Carr credit for the stuff he does. I still remember his MVP run, back in 2015. That he was a dog, man. But he got injured, and that's what ultimately took him out of it. But I love what you guys did, and I'm about to prove that. Number 4 for me. Listen, man, the only reason the Broncos are 4 is because everyone else is just that much better. Like, let's just be honest about it. I get it. You guys have went through it. I'm not going to spend much time on it. Yeah, you got Russell, but you still got some holes to fill. Everyone else is just that much better everywhere else. Number 3 for me, I do have the Chiefs. I'm not exactly sure how things are going to go. I know Andy Reid is a fabulous coach. He's the only coach in NFL history to have 100 wins on 2 different teams. And that says a lot. But, sometimes you have a little too many holes that you can't fill. And I believe that might be this year, because like you guys have been saying, the next 2 teams are just that damn good. Listen, I love Justin Herbert. And most people on here have known me since last year. I had Justin Herbert as my dark horse MVP last year. Now he failed me, and
I mean, he was 4 MVP.
Yeah, I know, but he could have done so much better. And should have. But this year, man, I'm telling you right now, I love what they did for him, and they kept his team around him. Their offensive line got better. Their defense is fabulous, but something is just telling me Raiders, dude. And I don't know why. Sometimes you have a gut feeling, and this is one of them. I'm expecting Devontae Adams to come out here and have 1,800 yards this year and 12 touchdowns. Like, I'm not even going to play with you guys. Like, this. There is only a few people in the NFL that I can truly sit here and say you can't cover, and he is one of them. It does not matter who you throw at him; he will beat them.
There's his college quarterback too.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, dude. If these guys have that chemistry that they had in college, everyone's about to be aware of both Devontae Adams and Derek Carr. I have Derek Carr winning the MVP this year if that team stays healthy.
Wow.
If Adams stays healthy and does not miss a game, and Derek Carr stays healthy and does not miss a game, there is no reason David Carr cannot have over 5,000 passing yards and that he can't have 40-plus touchdowns. between Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller. Nah, come on, man. And I'm telling you, dude, this team is nasty. Yes, I get it. Their defense might not have the big name playmakers, that some of these other teams have, but their talent that is young is very fucking good. Very, very good. And I'm telling you, dude, I have the Raiders going to the championship this year, hands down.
Hell yeah.
And I'm telling you, dude, I am pumped to see this team. I am an Eagle fan, but I am really pumped to see the Raiders play this year, man.
Me too.
Because we all
They're one of
know
my
that
teams.
they fought tooth and nail with the Chargers last year at the end of the year to make the playoffs. And that's the team, like my boy said, with Gruden and with Ruggs and
Arnett.
all of the shit that they've went through, dude. And this team has always fought. They've always overcome every obstacle. And no matter what happened, they were always there and they squeaked in. Just like we did. And you sit here and when we talk about the NFC East, we're all going to be hyped saying we're going to win the NFC East. Well, there's no reason these guys can't win the AFC West because they were exactly where we were last year. And this team went even way bigger than what we did. Let's just be honest. So I'm telling you, bro, there's no reason that this can't happen. Derek Carr, I think, sets everyone on notice this year. MVP, I'm calling.
I want to add one more thing. I think Devontae Adams has never had a supporting cast around him like this before. Even though Rodgers is technically a better quarterback, statistically wise and stuff, the receivers around him, Hunter Renfrow is one of the most underrated route runners in the game. And believe it or not, the China route, if you guys know what that is, he invented that and Cooper Kupp started doing, and he started doing what he's doing. It was because of Hunter Renfrow. This guy is a baller. This guy's going to open up space for Devontae. And then Darren Waller's coming back with a vengeance. He knows he screwed up last season, and we've seen that he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and he could easily do it again with this offense. So,
dude, you got to look at it, dude. You got Devontae Adams. You're going to have to watch that, man. There's no way that that you're not having a safety on him. You're going to make sure you can't get beat, right? Automatically, and then you turn around and you look at Hunter Renfrow. There's your other threat. Well, you have that guy. What are you going to do with him? If you cover them both, guess what? Waller's going to eat all day. You're looking at
then you have DeMarcus Robinson with the speed.
And you got Robinson with his speed out there. He could have 800 yards with his stuff. But no matter who you cover, you're going to get killed the other way. And
Adams hasn't had teammates.
Huh?
Adams hasn't had teammates like this since he was playing with Randall Cobb or Jordy Nelson when he was at the beginning of his career.
Yeah. Dude, this offense was built to terrorize people. And that's exactly what they're going to do.
I love it, man. Hey, the coaching staff is crazy, man. I would recommend people, man, if y'all don't know about our coaching staff, bro, trust me, go look it up and you will not be disappointed on what you're going to see about statistically all these guys have done. So
and a lot of people, they look at Josh McDaniels and give him shit for backing out of that contract, for Indy. I don't fucking blame him because when I went into that thinking that Andrew Luck was my quarterback and then finding out, I'm not having Andrew Luck, well then fuck you, I'm leaving. I don't blame the man. Come on, dude. And then you want to take a job without Andrew Luck, you're insane. I do not blame the guy 100%.
I just want to say one thing right quick. So you look at the Bills-Patriots game last year in the playoffs. What did Mac Jones do? How did he elevate the team? I don't know what people saw in this dude. He was good statistically, and he made the team a little bit better because who? It's because of Josh McDaniels. It wasn't because he can elevate the team by himself.
Daniels is a very, very smart offensive mind, and he's going to get the most out of those offensive playmakers that he has to play with now in Las Vegas. He hasn't had talent like this on offense in a while, and he's going to take advantage of it. He's never had two receivers as explosive as Adams and Renfrow, and he's never had a tight end. He hasn't had a tight end this explosive since Gronk was around. And then
Dante,
Josh Jacobs is still very good too.
I
Yeah.
feel like Davis Mills might be the best quarterback out of this class, yo.
Yeah,
I had to do more
for the
Could
first
research
be.
year
on
looked
him.
like it.
It could
For
be.
the first year looked
Oh,
like it.
Mac
For the first
Jones,
year
I
looked
just
like it.
personally
Yeah.
feel
We'll
like
see.
if
AK,
it wasn't for Josh McDaniels calling the play so well for him,
AK, I think
Mac
you know it's
Jones would
time
be
for.
ass, bro.
I think
Yeah.
it's time
I'm
for the main
sorry,
event. I
bro.
think it's time for the NFC East. I think it's
We
time for
can
the
do
best
that.
division in football.
We
Eagles
can
number
do
I think
one.
it's time.
Oh yeah,
we
this
can
is the
do
most
that.
competitive, one of the most competitive
I love
divisions for
this.
football.
Love this. Love talking NFC East all the time because we all hate each other, but we respect each
Yes.
other.
So we will get the
Talk about
NFC
the
East
NFC
out of
West.
the way first. That way, if people do have to bounce, I understand it is late, man. But some of us had some long-winded explanations for some of these things, and they were very valid points, so they had to be said. But yeah, we kind of made it go a lot longer than probably what we should have. But hey, we're having fun, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead, Slay. Start it off with the NFC East, bro.
I'm gonna start from 4 to 1. No, 4. I'm gonna say the New York Giants. I'm not gonna take anything away from the Giants. I think they're a competitive team, and they were
Mm-hmm.
last year. As much as people don't want to agree with it, they
Mm-hmm.
competed with Mike Glennon as their quarterback in some games, and they
Mm-hmm.
competed
Oh
with
yeah.
us for the first half of that first game or that second game, I think it was. And then we just started taking away things in that second half, and they competed with the Chiefs. They should have won that game. They beat the Saints, and they were in a couple games last year. But long story short, I think they were going to be the worst team in the division. I think they're going to be at like 4 wins, but they're going to compete. I'm not going to take anything away from them. Um, 3, I'm going to say the Commanders. I think I agree with East Coast Gridiron on this. I think this is like the less pressure. The like if you compare where Wentz was with the Eagles and the Colts, this is the less pressure he's ever gotten. Because with the Colts, you expected to get to the playoffs, your old coach, and it was a downfall. Same thing with the Eagles, hostile fan base, toxic fan base, and it just piled all up on him, and he got traded. And I don't really think the Washington Commanders fan base is too toxic.
Because they don't
I
have a fan
think,
base.
yeah, I think their fan base just comes from having Dan Snyder as their damn owner.
They don't
So
have a
that's the
fan
only
base.
thing
Yeah.
bad about their team.
Exactly.
And then number 2, I'm not gonna take anything away from Dallas. I still think this team has a chance to get to the playoffs. I like what they did this offseason, believe it or not, in the draft. I think they're the second best team in the NFC East. You got guys like Tyler Smith, who, if he develops his pass blocking, is going to be one of the best linemen in this class. And he's a really good run blocker. So we'll see with that. And Jalen Tolbert and CeeDee Lamb is a really good duo. And then 1, Eagles. I'm going to keep it simple. I think we're the best team in this division. I'm not going to say by a long shot because I still think the Cowboys are in this division. I'm not going to take anything away from them. Um, you get AJ Brown. I don't think he's the best receiver in the East, but he has a chance to be. Um, you got AJ Brown, Jordan Davis, probably the best defensive tackle in the class. You get Nakobe Dean, probably the best linebacker in the class. And then you got guys like James Bradbury, Kaiser White, Zach Pascal. No one talks about Zach Pascal was probably our most underrated move. And Pascal has a chance to get or eclipse 1,000 yards if you pass him the ball and use him the way he should be used. So I think the Eagles are one in this division.
I like it. Dante.
All right,
Uh-huh.
so I got the Eagles at 11-6. Uh, AJ Brown do helps out a lot. AJ Brown is one of the fastest, strongest receivers that I have seen, toughest receivers that I have seen. 50-50 ball, run past you, however you want it. Devontae Smith, a 916-yard wide receiver, a great route runner, can get open. You got the best offensive line in football. the best. You got a great locker room. You got a great locker room group of running backs. You can put any running back behind that offensive line. They'll find their the offensive line is so good they'll open up a hole for any one of those running backs. You got Kenny Game will catch out of the backfield, and then you can put him at the receiver position. You got Dallas Goddard, who did make my cut as a top 5 tight end in the league, who did make my top 5 tight ends in the league. So you got Dallas Goddard, who's pretty good. Again, he's just if he can just focus on catching the ball instead of trying to run up the field all the time, he will be fine. But other than that, again, I got the Eagles in 6. The defense has improved. Got big play. Again, lockdown. Inside, got James Bradbury pretty solid. Now the questions is safety. I don't think the safety position is that bad. I think having those cornerbacks over there.
His internet is cutting out bad, man.
Yeah, the Copeland, who's one of the best linebackers.
I was hoping it was him, not me.
Yeah, his internet is bad right now. Yo, and Joe Wall, you're actually crazy if you think our max is 9 games. We won like 9 games last year, so you don't know what you're talking about. But okay.
I say Philadelphia Eagles in first place. Cowboys in second place. I just believe the Saints. I believe the Saints or Minnesota may be better than a wild card spot. Just like in place, like I said, 1,000% agree with him. Nobody to overlook this team. Nobody to overlook that team. Yes, you're not happy. Yes, everybody's not thrilled on off-season moves. But again, this team is still under threat to the Eagles and to proven otherwise. Washington football team, 8-9. I got them 8-9. Carson Wentz. It's not that bad of a quarterback. Terry McLaurin, they got to find out if they pay him. You got Jahan Dotson. We're going to see how you do. We got to see how he do his first year coming up. I thought it was a little bit of a reach, but again, give him another. He's pretty solid at Penn State. Defensive line got to be healthy. Got the Boston Commanders and the New York Giants in last place at 5-12. Offensively, got better at getting Thibodeau. Got better getting Thibodeau.
Keep sleeping. Keep sleeping.
And again,
keep sleeping on us.
I sleeping. Hey. I gave you 4 wins. I gave you a win. I gave you 1 win up. I gave you 1 win up. So hey.
I know. I'm just messing.
Daniel Jones, can the weapon stay healthy? I don't know about that. Can the offensive line block good enough for Saquon Barkley? Don't know about that. So Kenny Galladay, we deserve the contract. Hell no, and he hasn't caught up. So other than that, after Johnson, last place.
All right, appreciate you. Hey, Dante, by the way, you're lagging a little bit, bud. Just so you know. A little choppy. Go ahead, Eric. What you got, bud?
It's better not be dumb.
I got in 4th place the Washington Commanders. I have them at 4th because I think when you really look at it, is that the Giants, I feel like people have been underestimating their coaching staff that they gained, even though they lost Patrick Graham and they lost certain people. I mean, losing Joe Judge was the best thing that ever happened to him. I think that they needed somebody like Brian DeBoer, and that's why I have the Giants above the Washington Commanders. I think Washington Commanders, which first of all, F. Del Rio, he cost us 2016 because he didn't bench Carr. And then all the turmoil that's happening with him right now, they got a little bit of a heating over there based on his comments, and I'm not going to get into that because that's politics and stuff. But they're going at it, and I don't think they're built yet to take over the New York Giants. While they got a little bit worse, I like Jahan Dotson though. I like Terry McLaurin, but I feel like Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, needs to leave because that's his best bet for his career. Besides that, their defense is all right. They lost a couple people. They don't look too great. And when you go on the Giants side, even they did lose James Bradbury, which James Bradbury, I mean, I think he's going to be a good acquisition to the Eagles, but I'll say that after. Brian DeBoer, I think is going to bring out something in Daniel Jones that we haven't seen yet. I don't think he's going to be a top 2 quarterback. I still put the Eagles quarterback and Dak Prescott still over him, but I think we're really going to see something that we haven't seen from Daniel Jones. You know, you've seen what he did with Josh Allen. Brian DeBoer is a good coach, and I think he's going to elevate that team. They did lose Patrick Graham, but like I said, Martindale has been a pretty good defensive coordinator for the Ravens the last 10 years. And I mean, the Ravens defense has been good. Even with their injuries, he's still been elevating that team, and he's going to come to this Giants team. The only question I have is, are the Giants going to stay healthy throughout the season? Because that's been something that's been a main factor to them last season. I mean, they went through so many injuries that they had to go on a QB sneak at 4th and 1. That is sad. Or at the 1-yard line. Like that's how you know it was just going down the drain. But Brian DeBoer was good for them. So going to second place, I have the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are the Tennessee Titans of the NFC because they're good in the regular season, but when they come to the playoff time, they choke it all the time. So that's why I call them. They got all the talent around them to win, and they don't do it. But in the regular season, they do it because, no offense, the NFC, you hear NFC least a lot. And it's because it hasn't been that talented until now. And I think it's going to be one of the most competitive ones this season. And then, of course, I got the Eagles at 1. And that's not because I'm good friends with Eagle fans more than anybody else, but that's because when you really look at it, when you really look at it, AJ Brown, I mean, Brown's a goddamn acquisition, man. That was something that I think you guys need to put some respect on your owner's name, or he's been doing great moves. I mean, Jordan Davis was a guy that I was really high on. I know AK was high on him, and everybody called us drunk because of his motor or whatever. Have you seen that guy, man?
Yeah, just y'all too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh well, I think you said it too. My bad. And Jordan Davis is a dog, So I think that Jalen Hurts is gonna take the next step. I think that I called BPS drunk when he said Daniel Jones was better than him. That was a bad. That's where the bad take slay came about. But
it's very arguable. I don't know what you're talking about.
That was where the closet fan slay came in.
But I really think that the Eagles are taking this division. They did everything good. James Bradbury being a number 2 is going to be excellent for them. Darius Slay is an underrated corner. I don't think a lot of people put respect on him. And I think you guys did every single thing good this offseason. And you guys will be like the Raiders, where this is your chance to take over the division. And you guys will do it. So.
Our receiver that literally gets injured every freaking year is so talented is on the Giants. Sterling Shepard gets injured every year.
He's all so talented.
No. Yeah. It's been very rough 10 years. We'll say that
every year, but it's so talented. I don't get it.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
We got a brother in pain.
All right, go ahead, Papa. What you got, buddy?
Oh, I can go. Yay.
Yeah. So for number 4, and this is simply just based off of the fact that I do not believe McLaurin will be playing. I've got the communist at 4th. I simply do not believe McLaurin will play. I think he's done. He's tired. He wants his extension. He's either going to sit out or he's going to wait till he gets paid or traded. I think the secondary for Washington, and I won't get into the whole Blank thing. I'll save that for sure. Everybody knows how we all feel about him. I think the best part of Washington's defense is obviously that defensive line, and even then, 1, can have trouble staying healthy. 2, can be shut down. We saw Jack Driscoll shut down Chase Young, the number 2 overall pick, being shut down by a fourth rounder. Not saying that is going to happen every play, but I do think just our line alone would stop him. Hell, I even think Evan O'Neal for the Giants would stop Chase Young. I think the best part of Washington's defense being their D-line can easily be stopped. Number 3, I've got the Giants. I don't think in just a year's time they're going to see that major jump, but I do think they are going in the right direction. I think biggest question mark on Giants obviously is that offense. Can Barkley stay healthy? Can a receiver actually get a touchdown? Will Andrew Thomas get another touchdown? Will Daniel Jones be the guy? These are questions we do not know. I think it's also going to take quite a while. I think they're going to
see exactly what the Eagles saw. It's going to take the first couple of weeks. They're going to get their lumps taken in. They're going to start losing and then slowly climb back up. Not saying that they'll make it to the 9-win season. I still think they'll have a losing, but not by much. I think it'll probably be like, I'll say 6 or 7. And considering the fact that I haven't heard the one Giants fan in the call freak out, I'm assuming he's okay with that.
You're on my wavelength. I'll have a lot to say about my team when my turn comes. I got a lot to say about that. My team.
So then I'll hurry this up real quick. Dallas. Objection, hearsay. Dallas, number 2. Like everybody said, you cannot count out Dallas. I am not going to be that one Eagle fan that says, oh, we're going to sweep them. Until we actually sweep them, I will never say it. I will always say we will tie. I still think to this day that we will tie. I think they'll probably get one on us. We'll get one on them. Which game is which? I don't know. I think they've got a lot of question marks, and I don't think Mike McCarthy is that good of a coach. I really don't think Mike McCarthy is that good of a coach. Don't think they had a good draft. Besides, and I can't remember his name, the edge from Ole Miss, Sam Wilson, I think. It was Sam something. I think him.
No, you talking about Sam
very
Williams.
good.
Sam Williams. Yeah.
Thank you, Williams. Other than that, I think their draft was not that good, and I think there's a lot more question marks than answers. And
Colbert?
One, obviously.
Oh, my boy, Young Colbert.
I'm going to say Eagles. We got better in every area, minus safety, we'll say, throughout this offseason. Jordan Davis, everybody was like, oh, he can't be a 3-down. Not 3-down back. What the hell? He can't be a 3-down defensive lineman. He's going to prove that wrong. Everybody was like, Nakobe Dean's got healthy, got his full. What the hell is the word? Why can I not think of it right now? Physical. Wow. Holy shit. Okay.
Long day, buddy.
He's completely. Yes. Got his physical. He's completely healthy. So that whole injury that everybody's talking about, not going to happen. Kaiser White, I think, is a major upgrade. Bradbury as number 2 cornerback, I think it's going to be great. I think too many people are sleeping on Marcus Epps, and too many people want to just ignore the fact that Jalen Hurts is going to develop. One of the big things that you would see in college with Jalen Hurts was he needed that physical receiver. It didn't have to be a big physical receiver like DK Metcalf, but he needed a physical receiver like we saw with CeeDee Lamb. We got him that with his best friend in A.J. Brown. You've got a crisp route runner in Devontae Smith. You got a good solid 3-4 with Watkins and Pascal in the slot. Either one of those two could start, and the other would be a great wide receiver 4. According to AK, you got a great back in Miles Sanders. I'm a little questionable on that. I'm more of a Gainwell fan myself. However, I do think you'll have a good running back rotation. That's about all I got.
Who's this Joe Wall guy?
Go ahead and go.
Who the hell is that?
All right, Jeff. Let her rip.
The NFC East. What can I say? First off, I hate all y'all teams. I wish all y'all would go 0-17. Screw all y'all. Let's go Giants. But on a serious note, my predictions for the NFC East.
Giants are going 17 now.
Number 4. Fourth place, I got the Washington Irrelevance, because that's all they've been pretty much for a long time, is irrelevant in this division. Sure, they had that one year where they were the division champs. We all know how that ended. They had trouble getting past the Giants when we had no defensive line. We had no offensive line. Our playmakers were all hurt. So at the same time, Washington, yeah, they have McLaurin. Guy's a tremendous talent at wide receiver, but he's going through a big-time contract dispute right now. Who even knows when he's even going to step on the field? I mean, Dotson, I think, has a lot of ability as like a secondary player. I like De'Ami Brown. I mean, Curtis Samuel, he's like the Sterling Shepard of Washington. The guy's always hurt. I mean, you can't forget about Gibson at running back. He's a solid player. Offensive line, they're okay, like middle of the road. I think they're the way that Washington could somehow compete or be a better team, I think that that defensive line. No, I'm not putting the Giants as number one. I'm not that crazy. But I think Washington, their defensive line has to play to the level of what their first round pedigree is. I mean, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat, and you have a returning Chase Young. All four of those guys, former first-round picks. You already paid Jonathan Allen. He's one of the premier defensive tackles. Payne is he's a very good player, also a defensive tackle. Sweat, he's a very good defensive end. He's like a good Robin. What are you going to get from Chase Young coming back from a torn ACL? You really have no idea. You really have no idea what you're going to get from this guy. If he's going to come back to any the same form he had in his rookie season, or if it's going to take him some time until he starts getting his legs under him. Their linebacking core, I think, is really weak. I forget the linebacker they picked up in the first round. There's been a lot of questionable. Yeah, he's a decent player. I don't know how he's going to fit into that defense and that system of Jack Del Rio. Their secondary, I think, is a mess. I don't like their secondary at all. I think that the rest of the division is going to be able to pass all over them. So I think the Washington Irrelevants are going to be number 4. They're going to be what they are most of every year is irrelevant. Number 3, I have the New York Giants. I'm not going to be crazy enough to put the Giants over Dallas and Philadelphia. I think the New York Giants are a team that is starting to, for the first time in a decade, it feels like forever, but it feels like the first time we actually have a foundation being built. We have direction being put together. We have young players that we drafted. I love what this team did, especially in the first round. When you could add a talent like Kayvon Thibodeau to that defensive line, and you could add an offensive lineman like Evan Neal there, it's only going to help what at first. I mean, you can look, anybody that saw that Giants offensive line last year, this Cup right here could do a better job blocking than Will Hernandez or Nate Solder. That's how bad that offensive line was. Billy Price was too busy olaying every single defensive lineman that was coming past him. Andrew Thomas, he was actually a pretty good player last year. He was emerging as one of the best young left tackles, but he couldn't stay healthy.
All right.
Don't even get me started with the playmakers on this team. While they all are talented, Saquon Barkley has the ability, and you guys have to be honest, Saquon Barkley, when he's healthy, he has the ability to be a top 5 running back in this league.
He's a top 5 talent.
When he's healthy, what this guy can do, and you can even see what Dable's doing with him right now in OTAs and minicamp, he's putting Saquon Barkley all over the place on this offense, and that's where you can get the most out of Barkley's talents, because he's not a guy that's going to be able to go in and just go north and south. He's just not going to bash through the offensive line. He's a guy that needs to be utilized outside, use his playmaking ability, send him deep at times, maybe send him in a slot. You could do so much with this guy. He's the type of running back that can go for maybe like 1-2 yards every 3-4 plays and then also bust it for 70. Kadarius Toney, while he's still very raw as a route runner, ask Trayvon Diggs how good Kadarius Toney could be when he's healthy. Because this guy was running Trayvon Diggs, who a lot of people are anointing as the best cornerback in football at times because of how many picks he had, but he's also getting beat a ton. Kadarius Toney was running this guy around like a pretzel. And this guy is so shifty out there. Just get this ball in space and let Kadarius Toney do what he can do. I've been one of the biggest guys that's been against Kenny Golladay. But Kenny Golladay, his one strength, which the Giants never did last year, was throw the ball up to him and let him go up there and get it. They never threw the ball to him deep until, of all people, Jake Fromm did it once. And, of course, it didn't work. I mean, Kenny Golladay is a guy that needs to be shot. He needs to go deep, and he needs to be a guy that's going to be able to pluck the ball out of the air and get those 50-50 contested catches because he can't separate. He's one of the slowest receivers, but he's a guy that needs to be able to get the ball in 50-50 situations. Sterling Shepard is my favorite player on the Giants. I've always been rooting for this guy. Riggs, what my buddies in the Big Blue Crew always say about that. And by the way, Coach Dante, if Lou ever heard you say 11-6 about the Eagles, he's going to be looking at you funny if he ever hears that. But I mean, in terms like Shepard, he's a very talented player, one of the most reliable players on that team, longest tenured Giant, can't ever stay healthy. Darius Slayton. All I keep thinking about when I think of Darius Slayton is that drop that he had in that Washington game in Week 2. I know I'm going off on a Giants tangent, but I mean, after what we had to endure last year, how the hell can you not? I mean, that was one. I've never had a season as a Giant fan of what trash I had to watch last year. Anybody that's an outside fan, you could like be like, oh wow, I feel bad for Giants fan. You have no idea. You have no idea how bad it was as a Giant fan last year. It was beyond depressing. Like we all just like could just sit there in depression with how bad it was. And at the same time, Daniel Jones. I actually put a video out that's gonna for tomorrow about Daniel Jones. This guy has never had a true offensive line. He's never had his playmakers all healthy. He's never had a scheme that fits his talents completely. But at the same time, Daniel Jones is the type of quarterback that has made too many turnovers. He doesn't take advantage of those tight window throws when they appear right in front of him. Daniel Jones has got to just be able to let it rip. That's what Brian Dable has pretty much been saying in all his press conferences. DJ, let it rip. Last year of his deal, go out there, let it rip. And in terms of the defense, I'm just going to make it short and sweet with the defense. I love this defensive line coming into the season. And I think if the Giants are going to make any noise, I honestly think it's going to be that defensive line. Leonard Williams, one of the best defensive tackles in football. In my opinion, the guy gets doubled and triple teamed all the time because he had no help at outside linebacker. Now you got Azeez Ojulari, who had 8 sacks in his rookie season, going his second year, where he's beefed up a lot. This guy looks like he's ready for a big-time second year. Thibodeau, the best pass rusher coming out of the draft. And, I mean, Dexter Lawrence had the most pressures of any year he's had since coming into the NFL. I like Adoree Jackson at cornerback. I'm very worried about the other young players in the secondary at cornerback, but I think Aaron Robinson, some of those other guys can get it done.
Yes, sir.
Xavier McKinney is in line for a breakout year. Darian Beavers, remember that name? Wan'Dale Robinson, remember that name on offense, what he did in Kentucky. And another guy, Daniel Bellinger. I think Daniel Bellinger is going to be a guy that's going to have a sneaky good season for the Giants. A tight end that can actually catch the ball. What a concept, Evan Ingram. So I mean, that's what we have right there.
That's your best tight end right now, and he hasn't even.
I think Daniel Bellinger is going to be the most surprising player on this team out of all the rookies that are coming in right now.
He's
go
such
ahead,
a
Papa.
good
Say what you
blocker.
guys say real quick.
No, I was just going to say with
blocker.
Wan'Dale Robinson, don't agree with where y'all picked him. Still think he'll be a good player, but he was 100% half of Kentucky's offense.
I mean, Will Levis improved throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
And
I just think he fits the scheme.
He does fit the scheme. I think he'll fit the scheme. I'll need to see it, but yes, I think it's going to be interesting seeing where y'all put who at who and who is 1 through however many y'all keep.
If Jones doesn't work out, there's a quarterback at Kentucky right now that played with Wan'Dale Robinson named Will Levis.
Oh,
hey, we'll see, man. And I feel like that.
I think you're going to see completely.
Never mind. Huh? Go ahead.
I don't think.
I just think if that offensive line can gel, and I do agree with you guys that it's going to take a few weeks for this offense to get going. I think the defense will be ahead of schedule, and I like Wake Martindale coming in as he's just going to be sent in the house, something the Giants have not done in a long time. That's why we sucked for a long time because our offensive and defensive line have been horrible for years. But I think we actually have a foundation being built. It's the off will take a few weeks, but if they can stay healthy, those playmakers, and the offensive line can begin to gel, the Giants' offense should be able to be way more improved than it was last year. But getting back to my list, number 2, I have the Cowgirls. I just think the Cowgirls are going to be the number 2 team in that division. I mean, I know they lost Amari Cooper. I think that's going to hurt Dak Prescott because I think that was still one of his most reliable players. Michael Gallup, well, the guy has incredible talent. He's probably Dak Prescott's favorite receiver to throw to because he's clutch and he makes the big catch. He's also coming off a torn ACL, and you don't even know when this guy is going to be ready. Dalton Schultz has been holding out a lot in training camp. He's looking for a new deal, so you don't know when he's going to come in. The Dallas offensive line, which has been the backbone of that team for so many years, just lost La'el Collins in free agency, lost Connor Williams at left guard. Tyron Smith looks like he's on his last leg. Tyler Smith, I think he's going to be a solid player, but I don't know what he's going to be like in his rookie season. Biotish, I think is trash. I don't like Biotish at all. I mean, when they lost Frederick, that was pretty much like the downfall of them. Zach Martin is their best offensive linemen right now. He's been the most consistent, but he's also battled injuries. And on defense, I mean, Parsons is great, but he's going to be able to have another great year coming off what he had, just an absolutely magical first year for a defensive player in his rookie season. I like DeMarcus Lawrence, but he's also battled injuries. I mean, in their linebacking core, Van Der Esch, I know they brought him back on one-year deal. What is this guy? He's also battled injuries. He's never been consistent. I mean, they got Collins. They got Cox, a linebacker. He's okay. And in terms of the secondary, I think Trayvon Diggs is so overrated. I'm sorry. I know he's got a whole bunch of interceptions last year. I think a lot of it had to do with their pass rush. But, I mean, the guy is a ball hawk, but you could easily beat him over the top. And in terms of, like, their safeties, I think they're very weak there. So I think Dallas is number 2. And just it pains me so hard to say this. I know all you Eagles fans are going to be, like, smiling when you hear this. I do have the Eagles as the best team in this division because of the acquisitions that they made this offseason. A.J. Brown giving Devontae Smith, who I think is one. I think he might be the best receiver that came out of that Alabama quartet. I've loved Devontae Smith ever since he came out of college. I think this guy's a polished wide receiver all over. I think he's going to have a big year this year. I think A.J. Brown, when he's healthy, is that completely opposite type wide receiver of Devontae Smith, where he's like that big body guy that's going to pluck it out of the air. The big thing that helped out Jalen Hurts is that running game. I think your running game is one of the best in the league. Your offensive line is solid all over. Jason Kelsey, one of the best centers for the past 10 years. Lane Johnson, one of the best right tackles. Moilata has turned into a very good left tackle. I mean, it's all your offense is all going to depend on how Jalen Hurts develops. I hear you guys. You think he's going to be able to do it. Jalen Hurts has got to become a better pocket passer. He's got to be able to go in there, and when the pocket's collapsing on him and he can't run out or, like, make, the move out of the pocket, he's got to be able to settle in there and make those throws when they're there, and he's got to be accurate because he's got the playmakers on the outside with Brown, with Smith, with Goddard, even like Quez Watkins. He's got to be able to make those throws, and that's going to be the biggest difference if your offense succeeds or fails. And on the defensive side of the ball, Fletcher Cox, one of the best defensive tackles in years. I think this is his last hurrah. I think the same thing for Brandon Graham. Been stalwarts on that Eagles defensive line. I think Jordan Davis was an excellent pickup for you guys on the defensive tackle position. I think Hargraves is coming off a great season. What are you going to get from him? Milt Williams is very solid. Nakobe Dean, if this guy can be healthy, I think he's going to be a good addition to your linebacking core. Darius Slate has been a very good cornerback for years. James Bradbury, it's painful to me to see James Bradbury lining up in that green. But, I think he's still I think he's a good cornerback. I don't think he's great. I did see a little bit of the cracks happening with James Bradbury this past season. I think little scat wide receivers that are going to be able to separate using their moves are going to be giving him problems. But I think talent-wise, the Eagles are the best team in this division. So I have the Eagles number 1. I have the Cowboys number 2. I have the Giants number 3. And I have the Irrelevance as number 4. Have a good night, everybody. Take it easy.
All right, you have a good one too, Joe.
Appreciate you, brother.
Great list.
As well.
Huh?
I was gonna say I'm heading out as well.
Yeah. I'm going to give my take here on this, and then I'm pretty much going to end it too. We've been streaming now for about 3 hours, 30 minutes. But yeah, listen, man. When it comes to the NFC East, I have the Washington Commanders at 4-2. Listen, I get it. They have great talent on the Commanders. They have McLaren. They have Gibson. Their tight end.
Logan
Thomas. But listen, Carson Wentz is not the answer. We all know that as Eagle fans. Mentally, this guy is not, capable of withstanding much. Everywhere he's went, they've drafted a quarterback behind him. Washington just did it to him. They got Howell, right? Or who was it? Yeah, Howell. His confidence level is always shot. So I don't see him doing much there. In fact, I think they're making a mistake. If I was them, I'd still go with Taylor Heineke, but that's just me. Whenever it comes to third, I put the Giants there. I do like what they did in the draft. They did shore up their offensive line a little bit. Their wide receivers are still questionable. Their defense is okay. I can see them making improvements from last year, especially with this coaching staff. You got DeBall, who really did wonders for Josh Allen. So maybe he can help DJ a little bit. But Wink, man, Wink's impressive. That was one hell of a pickup by the Giants. This guy, he is third overall in blitzing.
Amazing for Baltimore
coordinators. Yeah, he's got a great mind. He could develop a pretty scary defense over there, but who knows? We'll wait and see. They kind of are in the position we were in last year. They're just building. I think they're going to kind of have the similar season that we had last year, just with less wins. I think they're going to win week 1 because no one's going to know what to expect, and then they're going to fall off for a while. They might get 6, 7 wins, possibly 8 if they squeak one out here. But, I don't see them doing that much, but they should be better. And then Dallas, I got them at 2. They lost some people. Their offensive line is not what it used to be. They're still going to roll with Zeke Elliott, which I think is a huge mistake. If they went with Pollard, I'd probably be, a little less not worried, because Pollard actually is a pretty good halfback. He proved that last year. But they took a big loss with losing Amari Cooper. And, CD, he's got to take on that CB1 now. And a lot of people are going to be focused on him. And losing Wilson, and Gallup being there, and then Johnson. Johnson, he's on and off. He could be on 1 week and then off for 3 and back on 1. He's very inconsistent. So, and we all know how Dak's wide receivers have to be consistent. I like to think of Dak as a Kirk Cousins 2.0. He's a stat guy for sure, but when it actually comes to winning something, he's not your guy. And then you got the Eagles sitting there at number 1. Now you can say that's biasism or whatever you want, but with all the acquisitions we brought in this offseason, we've done an amazing job. You bring in first and foremost Hassan Riddick on a cheap deal and a very, very good deal at that. Hell of a job. He brings great, tremendous pass rush to one side of the line. And then you go out and, you sign or you draft Jordan Davis, who I've been preaching on since like week 6. I love this guy. He's to me, he's the new generation of like a Warren Sapp run stopper. You're not going to be able to run on this guy. He will chase you down. Even if you're a quarterback, he will catch you. A guy his size and with his mobility and how fast he is, it's ungodly.
You should not be running like that.
No, man, it's truly ungodly. And I've seen him chase down some really good players, in college.
Not even just quarterbacks, running backs too, like some fast running backs, bro. That man got some speed to him for a big dude at 6'6", what,
340, 6'6". Yeah, dude. And listen, I've seen him take on a triple team and still stop the halfback in the backfield. That's impressive. This kid is the real deal. And in all honesty, I don't think he's going to be in the shadows of these guys for long. He's going to make an impact pretty quickly, I think. And if he makes that big of an impact pretty quick, you might actually see Fletcher Cox get traded at the deadline if he makes that big of an impact. But I got to say, man, this defensive line is going to be one of the best in all of the NFL. Last year we took a big drop. Not this year. We should be back in the top 5 again, easily. We should be top 5 in sacks, if not 3. and interception ratio, man, we should be sitting good there too. We got a lot of talent on this defense. Jacoby Dean is another one. You know, you got a top 15 talent at 86 or 88 or whatever it was. You know, I got to say, man, that this team is built to win. And I can't say enough about them. A.J. Brown, dude, we don't even need to talk about it. I
Zach
believe,
Pascal.
yeah, Zach Pascal, like you said, he's very underrated, man. I think Zach Pascal is going to have a fabulous year. He is 6'2", you know, so he is a nice big body to have in the red zone. Um, you know, I think
Him
Quez
or
Watkins takes an even bigger step this year.
yeah.
I actually have Quez Watkins being our 1,000-yard receiver. Um,
I think personally, if the one thing that Hurts really needs to work on is his deep ball accuracy, and if he can work on that, just hitting his shots down the field, there's really nothing wrong with this deep ball. It's just that he can't hit the accuracy on the dot. Now if I think he has worked on that because what he's gonna do, sit on his ass all day and at home and not do anything? No.
no, that's what I love about him, man. Like, listen, first off, this guy is jacked right now. You know,
Yeah.
you saw his photo. Like, this kid really worked on his upper body. Now, some people might say, well, won't that hinder him a little bit? I don't know. We'll see. I think he needs to focus more on throwing guys open than his accuracy. You know, I don't think his accuracy is that bad. You know, yes, it needed tuned, but, you know, I think Tom House helped him do that. Uh, you thought he was hard to bring down last year. He's going to be even worse this year. You know, I really
Yeah.
see him taking a step forward because of all the talent we put around him, and talent makes perfection. You know, trust. Being able to trust that when you take your 3 steps back and you let go of that ball, 1, 2, 3, release, that your wide receiver will be there. You know,
Yeah. I
it's all
personally
about trust. And I don't believe he trusted in his wide receivers that much last year. In all honesty, he made it work, but he wasn't able to just go 1, 2, 3, drop back, let go, and know that Rager is going to be there, or know that, you know, Watkins is going to be there. Yes, Smith most of the time would be there, but, you know, there is a trust level you have to build. He has that with AJ Brown, and I think that's going to be, you know, a big thing moving forward. But yeah, man, there's no reason. I think Miles Sanders has 1,000-yard season. I truly do. If this kid stays healthy, there's no reason that Miles Sanders cannot demolish people. We've seen it. He carries the ball 5.5 yards per carry. You know, yes, he has to work on his hands a little bit holding the ball, and I need you to show me that, you know, you can get out in the flat there and catch a ball if you need to and take it to the house. But all in all, man, we have the team to succeed. You're not going to be able to stop Goddard, Smith, and A.J. Brown. You know, we went from having one of the worst wide receiving cores to one of the best now. We went from having one of the worst linebacking cores to one of the best now. Like, we have made the right steps moving forward to be dominant. All they got to do is just go out there and prove it.
I personally feel like, to address Weapon X's comment in the chat, I don't think there's anything wrong with Jalen Hurts throwing the ball in the middle of the field. In fact, if you look at Hurts's like efficiency, his best place and best target to throw was the middle of the field, and guess who that was too? Devontae Smith and Dallas Goddard. They beat you in the well, because Smith was more on the outside, so I'm not gonna really put him in like most of the middle, but he caught the ball a lot in the middle. But Dallas Goddard was a key efficient baller in that middle of the field, and that's Hurts.
I definitely agree with the anticipation on the throws,
Yeah,
though.
the
That he
anticipation.
definitely
Yeah,
needs to anticipate a little better. He needs to read it a little faster, and he definitely needs to get his release down. You know, I
but
understand.
that's why you get AJ Brown because he's gonna beat you on the 9 ball, and guess what? AJ Brown is one of those guys that just beats you down the field and you cannot stop it. If you look at this film, man, this dude's gonna beat you on every level of the field, man. Like, he'll beat you in the middle of the field, he'll beat you on the deep ball. And if you hit him on an eyeball, bro, that man is gone, bro. Like that's the stuff that I'm talking about. And that's if you just go back and think, why would AJ Brown be an Eagle? Because Howie Roseman knows Jalen Hurts' biggest issue is probably his deep ball accuracy. And guess what? AJ Brown is so good at beating you on the deep ball. So that's where the clicking is going to come from.
You guys talk about the deep ball, and I like that because we all like explosive plays, and I know we led the league last year in explosive plays for a while, but there's to a point I like that, and to a point I don't. Sometimes I would prefer just that little 5-yard slant or 10-yard slant, whatever you choose to do. Get it in their hands and let them make a 10 into a 40. We pay these guys to be dynamic. We pay them to make these big plays. If you can make it easy on them, just make it easy, because AJ can turn a 10-yard pass into a 60-yard touchdown. So can Devontae Smith. We're paying these guys to do it. Let's let them do it. We don't always have to be taking deep balls down the field, even though we love the 60-yard passes. I'd rather see a 10-yard pass and see AJ break like 3 tackles and get in. But that's just me, man. Play it safe. As long as we don't force the issue, as long as we play Eagle football and we go into every game and we make people play the way we play, you will win every game. It's only whenever you start to try and play their kind of football is when you lose.
Yeah. Yeah, and Kennedy Brooks will be a huge factor.
Yeah.
I think people sleep on him more than they should not. Like, the dude is so underrated. Like, if you go back to Oklahoma, he played with Hurts. I just wanted to note that. He actually played with Hurts and CeeDee Lamb and Christian Rambo. He knows some of the pieces there. And Calcaterra was there at Oklahoma. So he's already familiar with most of these guys. It's just that clicking comes with the running back, the team bonding. And then I think Kennedy Brooks is just going to fit so well because what did we lose? We lost Jordan Howard, the guy that was more of our power back. I don't think Kennedy Brooks is a complete power back to where he's just going to light you up in that power game. But he has really good vision.
Yes.
And one thing about him is he has really good IQ. So I think one necessary thing with him is just to let him go in that A gap, and if he can hit that hole, I'm not gonna say he's just gone, but he's gonna do a lot with that ball, man. Get you 10 yards a pop, does not matter. That you're just gonna get something there.
Yeah, no, man. Listen, you bring up a valid point there. You bring up Kennedy Brooks, and in all honesty, man, I've been talking about this kid for a little while, and I like to look at him as a Le'Veon Bell type of vision runner.
Le'Veon Bell skill sets.
Yes, like when it comes to running the football, this kid is very, very patient. If you look at Le'Veon Bell when he ran with Pittsburgh, he would sit behind the line for a few seconds and let the holes develop, and then he'd slam right through it. Wow. That is kind of exactly how Kennedy Brooks runs the ball. He will sit there. He's very patient. He has very, very, very elite vision. Like, I'm not even playing this kid. He's very good when it comes to letting the holes open up and seeing them very quickly and taking off. He has good burst. But you are right. He's not a power back, but he's not a speed back. He's balanced, He's not the most powerful, and he ain't the fastest. But he'll break 40-yard runs, but he'll get caught. But he'll break 40-yard runs. You know what I'm saying? And he's sneaky agile. Like, he's got very good change of direction. I think he could be a very solid number 2 behind Miles. But then you got Kenny Gainwell, who, I look more as the Darren Sproles back.
Change the pace.
Yep. He's more of your Darren Sproles. He's going to be your screen pass guy. He's going to be your, just give him a little dump off and let him turn a 1-yard pass into 20. I think that's going to be his role. And, man, if all these guys are used right, there's no reason this team can't go somewhere. Sky's the limit. But I just want to see them win the NFC East and just win a playoff game, and I'll be happy, man. Because that's something we can build off for next year.
Facts. I agree, man. And I love exactly what you said about Brooks, but I've always been a high on Brooks, man. I thought he was coming out next year, man. Last year, actually, not next year. Last year. Like, I agree, man. He has some of the skill sets that Le'Veon Bell has. It's just about tutelage, and if you could develop it to like a 2, then I think this dude could be solid. But hey, man, I gotta head off. It's like 1:35.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Appreciate it.
But good talk, man. Good talk.
For sure. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate everyone for coming in and hanging out with us. We did live stream tonight for almost 4 hours. Did not anticipate it to go that long, but hey, it is what it is. We'll break down the rest for you later. It is pretty late here. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And also, if you guys haven't, Weapon X NFL Eagles here. Just met him today. He is a Eagles content creator. Very good dude, very knowledgeable about these Philadelphia Eagles and our team. Definitely go check him out. Sub to his channel. Really good dude. Appreciate you for hanging out and supporting the channel, man, and asking all the questions. Keep doing your thing, bro. Definitely would like to work with you sometime, so hit me up. Thanks to Big Play Slay. Thanks for Jeff and Coach Dante, ECG, Papa, everyone, man. All of Hardcore Sports. Don't forget to go check that out. The description's the link is in the description down below to the channel. Please go sub to us up there. Pretty much everyone that was up here tonight was part of Hardcore Sports as well. So, that's kind of the conversations we're going to get into at Hardcore Sports. We're going to be as real as possible. Because like I always say, people know when you're lying to them, and we don't want to give you guys that feeling that we would lie to you. We want to keep it real to the heart, tell you how we feel about these teams. And for the most part, all of us up here that are in Hardcore Sports are knowledgeable about all teams. And hopefully we kind of prove that to you guys tonight. So definitely keep looking out for the content. Appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to make a donation, the link is here in the description as well, whether it's the Hardcore Sports or this channel, whatever, it doesn't matter. But please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe. Y'all have a great night. Peace out. Fly, Eagles, fly.